straight up yelling at me across the house. I wanted to say thank you for everybody who's continuing to vote for their MVP person of the game. There's actually 2 people who are both 2 votes away from Geomancy cards. So after a long stretch of not getting cards ever, I might give out 2 in one session. You guys just have to keep on letting me know who your favorite person is each game. I wanted to ask everybody a quick little question about their character before we dive into the recap. And it's going to be a really, really simple one. And you guys can go in any order that you would like. I'm not going to take notes of this. It's just to share something that is otherwise not going to come up in conversation. And I would like to know exactly how old your character is. That's a weird silence.
I don't have my child sheet. I don't know.
I don't remember.
It's been 9.5 years, right?
9.5 years.
Cool.
So I do remember that I set that there were various ages for the child sheet, but I took the you're all 10 years old to canon, so Kyvius would be 20 years old.
Okay.
Sagar would be 21.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Warren was 12. So
I can legally drink.
I think Morgaine is technically 18.
Does that include your missing years?
Yeah, that's what I subtracted it from my missing years from that.
Got it.
Although then, like he's also 9. Yeah, I'm gonna say 18.
Okay. Eerie, I know, is 430. And then Shay?
26.
Awesome. And here is my follow-up question. Who had the most recent birthday, and when was it? And who has the next one that's coming up?
What month are we in again? Shit.
It's actually like the end of the year. It's the end of the year. It is actually the final month of the year where it's just getting into what would be winter if this was not basically a tropical island.
I'm gonna have to go back to the original PDF to go back to the board.
That is pinned in the main channel.
This is the month of the Raven Queen as well.
So I was born in the month of the Hearthfire.
Okay.
I'm not at the PDF yet, so I don't know which month that is.
So we're in the month of the Raven Queen?
Correct.
Let's see.
There's the calendar.
So I cut out for a second here. I just came back. What are we looking at?
I'm just curious when your character's birthday is, just out of curiosity.
Where is the calendar?
I will link it. It doesn't really matter. I was just sort of generally curious.
Mine's the banner.
The constellation that you were born under may perhaps indicate the month that you were born under as well. That's a bit of a complicated jump.
Mine was the 30th of last month.
Wow. We missed Morgaine's birthday.
He didn't bring it up.
So it's we're in the last month of the year.
Right.
Okay, yeah, mine. I just used fucking. I didn't think about it, but I would have just used my. So it would have been a little over a month ago.
Okay.
Is there a way to zoom out on this to see the entire year, or how does that work?
I don't think there's an easy way. The Warren is like a week and a half before Morgaine.
Yeah. I thought for a second our birthdays were based on our star sign.
I thought they were as well.
They were.
They were.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the calendar that he linked literally has your birth sign in the brackets. So the Raven Queen arc would be aligned with the patchwork quilt.
constellation, right?
Okay, sorry.
How
Got
are
it.
you, where are
In
you
that
seeing
case,
that? I'm missing that.
Do you have the Foundling document
I
open,
have the
Benji?
Foundling document and I have the calendar.
Sorry, Steele. I will stop talking over.
That's okay. It's we're not trying to get into like the super heavy like fucking pinpoint your character's exact date of birth, but I did want to mention that if you are curious, the constellation that your character was born under does probably have an indication, not always, but it does usually indicate the month that they were born under because the constellations are highest in that month. So for example, if you were born under the sign of the Raven Queen, in the month of the Raven Queen, then your birthday is probably this month. And it's a very easy question, I think, if people are thinking like who had the most recent birthday and who's coming up. I was just curious if people were aware of that information. I believe in the Foundling PDF as well, I believe that they were done in order as well, from January to December.
No.
Oh, darn. That would have been too easy.
they're in alphabetical order.
What?
Yes.
That's dumb of me.
But not really, because the beast is at the end.
So I believe my character was born during Avandra's arc.
They're in alphabetical order according to the god, which is weirder.
That's not useful.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That would make mine next month then.
That's
next
correct.
month.
How do you tell which is next?
You go to the calendar and you click around.
Yeah, so in 2 weeks is the end of the year, and then it's entering the Erithus' arc, which is the only month to not have any celebrations or festivals or anything noteworthy that happens in it at all, because it is a month of commemoration for death. It is the one that sort of follows the Raven Queen for what I think are fairly obvious reasons. And you guys have just been through False, and it's about a week and a half now for the sort of the big festival at the end of the year, which is called the Day of the Defiant Roar, and that is when basically the entire world just sort of shouts in the new year. If you are imagining the idea of like the ball dropping in Times Square or whatever, where it's like the big countdown, 5, 4, etc. Just replace people just like screaming at the loud of their top of their lungs until they're hoarse, just fucking yelling to the gods and the beasts and the shadows and everything that they won't be fucked with. Tell the new year to give them their best shot, basically. And I think that is important because I want you guys to know that today is Garrow's birthday, and this is the best birthday present you could have possibly given him. Because in the previous game session, when you were in the city of Port Iron-Gast, Jon Savos never spoke Sygar's name, only called him Mithril Chef. Didn't want to know his name, didn't have to know his name, and he walked out of that city with exactly what he had came for. Even though the city now, thanks to the Mithril Chef, is fed and safe for another few months, at least until Residium runs out. I think Warren said it best when he noted that it was only a half measure. It's not going to be enough. In your trip on Zaglebite to Epitaph, the island where a god died, the island where, if you believe the legends, the world was sundered in twain, was a very quiet one. But it is quiet no longer, because you guys have been here for less than an hour, and you have already eaten a washing machine and had somebody offer to give you a face tattoo, and it's been a weird experience thus far. And of all the things that you were expecting, I think, in Epitaph, the least of them is to come face to face with the very familiar faces from your childhood. The people who you left behind in the car. And the shit-eating grin that Garrow has on his face as it breaks into this enormous half-smile, half-sneer is the very same emotion that kind of churns in your stomachs for at least most of you as you look out over what is now 6 people who have basically fallen into almost a militaristic step side by side. One of them is a massive four-armed titan from the north with shaggy white fur that has just momentarily ago shifted into having traditional sort of pink skin and looks once again like a person. One of them is somebody that you don't know. She is a warforged whose face is contoured with creases that kind of suggest that it could fold back away and reveal something else beneath. And despite being a warforged, she is the most realistic warforged you've ever seen in your life. She could easily pass as human in the right light or the right attire. Garrow looks like he's had his nose broken in a fight. He's missing a couple of teeth, which have been replaced by gold. His hair is, it's gleams in the light from how much grease and pomade that he has. It's almost dripping in his scraggly, roguish locks, and he keeps his head far away from torches and fires for this exact reason. And he has a pair of large, long arms that are basically rifles with a blade attached on each, crossed over his back in a way that would make them very difficult to draw, but they look really cool, and that's what counts. Zolt is wearing the attire of a scholar. He has never been a big orc, even when you guys were kids, and even as an adult here. He's really slight. He's a little over 5'7", which is short even for an orc, and stands shorter than the majority of your party, except maybe eye to eye with Shay. And his clothing all sort of suggests an interest in the lunar or the cosmic, and he has his orcish ears have been pierced multiple times, and a sort of a shaggy mop of hair is struggling with the sea air that Warren, you know that they are fairly used to. I'm gonna bring my mic closer to me because I forgot about this last week, and I apologize for that.
It's doing pretty good so far.
Thanks. They've referred to a huge armored entity just as Polonius. The armor appears to be made of platinum and gold, the same colors of High Helm, and a pair of huge horns, not like the shape of a tiefling or a dragon or anything of that nature, but purely ornamental horns, almost like a Fey Lord, almost extend from the helmet of this otherwise faceless, mostly immobile entity. And a huge two-handed greatsword sits at sort of one side, and just a half cape that's sort of purple and gold dangles from around its neckline. And it is a stark contrast to Sawtooth, the Titan, where while the Jotun breathes heavily and its shoulders rise and fall with every breath, and you can see that the cold breath it exhales like hits the air and immediately chills in front of its face. Polonius, or what was once called Polonius, is perfectly without movement, almost statue-like. And finally is Karna, who, it's been a long time since any of you really saw Morgaine in the flesh. And a lot of you have started to think of Morgaine more as your sort of mechanical warforged body, as opposed to the little red-haired kid that he was when you were all traveling together. I don't think even people would recognize the token of Morgaine.
Untrue.
His little rosy cheeks and his pale skin. You certainly wouldn't remember the look in his eyes or the haircut that he possessed. But seeing Karna in front of you, it's almost like seeing Morgaine again. They are very, very clearly brother and sister. And she is wearing militaristic attire. She has a gemstone choker around her neck that covers the etching of sand that draws around her neck, and you can see that she has down both arms, worn with pride, sort of the etchings again of one of the ringed of the Ka. Even though she is only a couple of years Morgaine's elder, the way that they both move, is that Claire already?
It's been
Technically half
40
hour.
minutes.
Holy shit, I'm the worst. Sorry, guys. despite the fact that she looks so much like Morgaine that even now, as your big, heavy Warforged friend rushes forward, I imagine to embrace. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. My apologies.
Nope.
Okay. Her step is almost in perfect rhythm. Where when Karna steps forward, mouth agape, looking across at all of you, Garrow sneers back and, before anyone else has a chance to speak, says, "This is exactly what I wanted for my birthday." Who's the first to speak?
Your fucking birthday? This is what you decide to do with it? Point to the group.
"It's not a decision," he says, and pound his chest a couple of times. "We're on important missions."
Oh, okay. Right.
Long silence, with the exception of Sawtooth's heavy breathing. Just again, clouds of steam fill the air. Zult doesn't make eye contact with you, Kyvia. And Karna just stares at you, Morgaine, and you can see that she mouths your name a couple of times before the third time, when she's able to actually finally say it.
I think like Morgaine would be. He's a robot. Stiff is like his way of life, but I feel like, especially for everyone in the party, you've seen him walk around. He is frozen, and he is just staring at Karna and just standing there.
So,
Kyvius has gone uncharacteristically stone silent as well. Maybe pulled his cloak around like a little tighter over his left arm, and his eyes are just darting like just waiting for something to happen.
The woman who you don't recognize, the one who has long purple hair and a very low-cut attire, and you can tell that she's a Warforged, despite the fact that those are some hefty Warforged implants, takes a few steps forward and blinks once very, very slowly, in a way that, like, if this was a sci-fi film, you'd get the whole, like, she's scanning you kind of mindset. And when her eyes open, you can see that they are not pupils. They are just, like, solid lines across the pupil. And she almost glides as she moves. She takes a couple of steps across the stone street here, and again, without having much in the way of facial expression, looks very quickly to Karna and says, "So this is your brother I've heard so much about." And then back to you, and she says, "I imagine that introductions are in order. I am Shireen of Delquar. And you?"
I'm not going to respond to her. Instead, just still let Karna. He's sort of in his own world at this point, seeing his sister walk back, and he's gonna, got your message.
She goes, "Yeah, got your reply."
Yeah, here.
She looks back and goes, "We're not staying long. I don't really know what the protocol is here. How are you? Good? How have you been?"
Got, I'm up to things.
okay, alright. Warren says, can we... Would everyone be alright with me putting a place for us all to sit down and something on my tab before you all leave? Because otherwise, I think my sphincter's gonna rupture from the awkwardness.
"I wouldn't put it in quite those same terms," Shireen says, as she sort of glides towards you and and like curtsies low, like very weirdly, freakishly low, where her body drops to almost like a foot and a half off the ground as she does so, and then rises back up on her like very nimble blade-like legs almost, and says, "You must be the leader of this little ragtag organization."
I sort of fold my arms. Hard to define really at this time. But his name is Warren. I can at least give you that much.
Shireen, as stated, and charmed. And you are stunning.
He's fucking immediately taken off guard as someone who never gets compliments.
Don't worry, Warren. I think she was referring to me.
Oh. Well, thank you.
Not at all. His arm reminds me of the way that the morning light hits the salty ocean when it's the combination of cloudy grays and browns. It's stunning. And
Not
she sort of
sure to describe that.
she flexes her multi-jointed fingers rather, and looks back at the rest of the group. And Garrow snorts and goes, "We don't have time for any kind of delays."
No time for a birthday meal?
He pauses and goes, "Anything to eat in this dump is infinitely worse than what we brought from home. Thanks. But you're welcome to the swill."
If you hate Epitaph's food so much, why do I always see you around here so many times?
Zolt pipes up and goes, "Well, Garrow and I were stationed here for, 3 years? Bringing back Ageless to Memnon." And Garrow like shoots back and goes, "Shut it, Zolt! They don't need to know that." And
I
Zolt
know
shirks
that.
under his look and goes, "They already did, though."
And pray tell, really, fellow, what would you really know about good food?
And Garrow looks back at you and goes, "I feel like I remember you. I don't remember anything you did. You're just the useless one. Is that still true?"
Probably.
Can I ask a quick question? So
Yeah.
obviously there's an ageless here. I'm sorry. There's a fucking the construct. What not an ageless.
Warforged.
A warforged here. And Sawtooth, the species I would recognize being associated with the Ka. Karna, I checked up on.
So
and
quickly,
had,
just to quickly jump
sorry.
in.
Yeah.
You said the Sawtooth is a species you recognize with the Ka. Partially true. He is one of the Oni, which you will remember from when you guys were breaking into the vault. There were like the sort of the Japanese style Oriental demons there. He specifically is an Oni who has been living in the northern Bravelands for hundreds of years, and their bodies very quickly adapt to the surroundings.
Right.
Where if something lives in gold for a long time, it will become, the Onis become gold. And this is one where it is like a big fucking northern Yeti. So in a sort of a distant sense, that's accurate.
Right. Yeah, you kind of described the. Sorry, I was shorthanding, but you kind of described the circumstances of how that kind of occurred. I guess what I should have said was associated with, or has an association.
For sure.
Karna, I knew. Polonius, obviously, when he said his name, made the connection, whatever. But Garrow and Zolt, did we collectively, or did I know that they had begun associating with? I know that Karna had left because I went and checked up on her, but did I know that Garrow and Zolt had made their way to the Ka as well?
Garrow and Zolt were left in the Ka when you made your escape as children.
Jesus Christ. How did I forget that?
Yeah. Remember the whole
abandoned
fire
them.
scene where Zolt couldn't get past
Zolt
the wall
was trapped
of fire?
behind the wall of fire, exactly. That Karna created them, remember?
Yes.
Right. Sorry, thank you for the refresher.
It is relevant.
Mm-hmm. So
And-
is this another prophecy by Memnon then? Seems most things Card do these days are out of that sort of bent.
It's Shireen who does most of the talking, but she looks at Karna before responding to you. And you get the very distinct impression that she's like kind of just like sizing you up. Is Claire here? I haven't heard War Eerie talk at all.
Yeah, I'm just.
All right.
Yeah.
Beat. Was tired from work?
No, it was vacation.
Oh, okay. I got you. She always kind of like looks to Karna for direction, and then it's very clear that Karna is sort of enraptured by seeing her brother, and it is, again, it's very awkward between the two of them. So Shireen is the one who's doing most of the talking. And I want to just quickly clarify to you, Erie, that you notice instantaneously that the reason that that Shireen is so just, magnificent is because when you sort of look away from her, just for a split second, like out of the corner of your vision, you can very clearly tell that it is some kind of illusion magic. You are familiar enough with that exact style of magic to recognize that she does not look like that. It's only when you're looking directly at her that she appears as this very beautiful forged.
So it's like the opposite of Caius's cloak.
It is very much the opposite of Kyvius's cloak, yeah. And Shireen looks back to you, Warren rather, and goes, You are familiar with leadership of the cop?
Yeah, no, we had some run-ins with them. I've met Welk and the Seraphian, and didn't get to meet Mimnon, but saw him and some things like that.
She gets a little stern for a split second and goes, You will not refer to him as Welk, but the Adeptus did return to us after nearly 10 years and has given Memnon and us direction, which we are honored to follow.
I do apologize. It was 10 years ago. He went by a different title back.
She very curtly says, No, when the Adeptus saw High Hell kneel before him, he used his title.
Huh.
Yeah, he was Adeptus back then.
Oh, right, Adeptus Welk. It was on his character sheet. You're right.
Yeah. And Karna
Really?
says, Morgan, we're not staying too long. It's great to see you.
He doesn't have a throat to clear, but he's doing it anyways. It's good to see you. Has everything been fine? Have you eaten enough? You look hearty.
She nods back and goes, I mean, you too? And then she turns to Shireen, who like overtly rolls her eyes, and Shireen goes, Lady Zephyri, I will be returning back to the Sirocco and prepared for departure. It is time for me to commune regardless. And as she says commune, you watch as her head just twitches a little bit uncontrollably. And then she does another long bow and curtsy to all of you and says, Once more, pleasure to meet you all. Best of luck wherever your journeys take you. And makes a very abrupt turn and starts making her way back down towards the harbor. And as she turns to, she says, Come, Polo. And the suit of armor like straightens up a little bit and then just follows behind her as if like almost in pain momentarily from a command, and then follows suit.
Polo. Some company you got there.
You're saying this to Polo?
Karna.
Okay. Karna goes, They were, those two, she says, and head glances back towards Shireen and Polonius. Those two were handpicked to join us. As you know, Garrow and Zolt and I have worked together for years.
Is that another Cerosian base?
She purses her lips a little bit and she says, I mean, I can't talk, openly about everything. And Garrow jumps in, Can't talk openly to traitors.
I never swore allegiance, Garrow. You're just going on technicalities. I've been loyal to who I care about. And he returns his eyes to Karna.
Karna goes, just ignore him. And Garrow calls back, Yeah, sure, just ignore me. Enjoy your last few months.
How's mom and dad?
They're good. They miss you, she says. Mom was thinking about adopting a third. She almost says second, but then corrects herself and says third. But they're getting up in years now, so
That's
you might.
good.
Yeah, I mean, you might have a little sister or a little brother if you ever wanted to come home and meet him.
Maybe someday. I still haven't found what I was looking for.
She pauses and says, "Have you figured out even what you were looking for yet?"
I think I know the direction.
And it's away from your family?
For now.
He nods a little bit resigned and goes, "Yeah, I guess I probably should have expected that." At this point in time, again, there's like Sawtooth takes a couple of big, long, lanky steps towards you, Eerie, and just this huge, gigantic, twisted face looks down at you and just curls back the lips around its mouth, and you can see just these incredibly sharp razor teeth that are all individually serrated, as though it has been very, very carefully and ritualistically done. And it opens its mouth just a little bit. And you can see that pierced on all of these serrated teeth are just like chunks of meat that are basically have just been skewered for like very slow breakdown in this creature's mouth, and the smell of just this rotting meat hits you instantly, and it just extends one long finger to you and then one long finger back towards like one of its front two teeth, and again just smiles.
I will point at him and then point at Warren's arm and smile back.
Oh my god.
So, I say sort of at like a weird, like the weird family member whenever Karna and Morgane are talking, just I kind of garrow it. I sort of interrupt a little. Mind if I, as if anybody would be sort of surprised. Mind if I be frank for a moment? All right.
Garrow shoots back. Yeah, knock yourself out. And I mean that literally. It'd be hilarious.
Christ, he never did grow up, did he?
So, what? It's been a long time since we've seen each other. What's the status between us here? If we were to see each other not in Epitaph, not in neutral ground.
Garrow scoffs a little and goes, "You calling this place neutral ground? That's an effing joke. Look, we've got no beef, all right?"
There you go. I just wanted to hear you say it out loud.
We've got no beef between us, much like your entire nation is quickly running out. It's, look, regardless of my personal feelings towards any of you, and here a fucking withering look is fixated upon Shay, and you can see his face contort with legitimate, actual hatred just for a second, and then back to you, Warren. Regardless of anything that's happened in the past, it all worked out for the best. We didn't get to grow up in a place that didn't want us anyway, and found a place that did. And pretty soon, whether you like it or not, we're all going to be working together. And then, when you're part of the Ka, we're family. And if you're not, then you're dead. And either way is a win-win for us. And Karna snaps back, "Garrow, stop it." He just gives her a normal okay, cool, everything's fine look, and then as soon as she turns her back to you, Morgane, his face contorts into a sneer at her behind her back again.
Manners.
I kind of half mutter. I don't think the rest of the group can hear me. Just our folks. Like you could take this out anyway.
Shut up, Saigar.
Actually, I'm going to have you roll stealth on that one, Saigar, real quick.
Oh, he was
Stealth?
whispering it?
He was very quickly.
Oh,
under
my
his breath.
apology. Well, my response, if he rolls well,
Yeah.
I will never hear it.
You're right. None of them. It's certainly loud enough for your immediate companions to hear. Absolutely. And you are right that none of them seem to either, with the exception of Sawtooth, who his big tight ears perk just a little bit, and his head sort of swivels to you. And again, that big gross smile never fades.
I think, out of instinct, Morgaine still would have went, just shut up if he heard that comment. And he wouldn't be controlling his volume of voice.
And Karna says, "Look, if you're going to the Ka, you're welcome to come with us. This is sort of your only chance to get off the island. I don't know if you've heard or how long you've been here for, but there's no other ships coming or going. I mean, even we're taking a risk leaving, but the Sirocco is the fastest ship I've ever seen, so..."
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that monster.
That thing out in the ocean, no. Pretty big.
I saw it. It expanded from horizon to horizon. And it's not in your element, so try to stay away from it.
Garrow snorts back. "Seen you again for all of a minute and a half, and you're already lecturing and telling us what to do. Morgaine, when are you going to learn? We don't need your advice. Thanks." And Karna looks to Garrow and then back to you and goes, "I appreciate it. I really do. I know it's keeping everyone here busy, but I'm sure we'll be fine."
Okay. I just want you safe.
And once again, Garrow shouts back, "Yeah, don't worry. She's got a team of people to keep her safe." and Zolt sort of pipes up, goes, "No, she's fine."
And at that comment, he'll look at Karna, look at Zolt, and be like, "You guys, make sure Garrow doesn't kill himself."
I'm not sure
This-
anyone could prevent that.
Just the very corner of Zolt's mouth twitches a little bit in amusement. And Garrow says, "If it is possible to die from too much drink and poon and wild nights, then sign me
You wouldn't know. I understand.
Yeah.
My
There's some
right
random
hand is
breaker.
crackling with
Yeah.
an unused Eldritch Blast right now.
Oh, is it really?
I'm just keeping my palm by my side. My God, he can make me rage.
Is it visible enough that they might catch sight of this?
No. I mean, I'd be clenching my hand. I don't know
Okay.
if I don't know how visible that would be. I'm kind of wrapped up in my cloak, so because I don't believe that they are familiar with what I did to my arm, so I'm just
Right.
keeping myself kind of enshrouded.
Well, we're just getting our bearings. You can, you're more than welcome to walk with us unless you have to leave right now.
Karna, she inhales a little bit, and it's very clear she's not. She wants so badly to hug you, but there is just that vastness between the two of you. And she says, "No, we need to go. We have a schedule we've got to keep."
Okay. But if you need me, if you're ever in danger, do the thing again, and I'll be there.
She goes, "Yeah, sure. Hey, I mean, what are you actually doing here? I mean, if you don't mind me asking," she says, and sort of looks at the rest of you. And again, Garrow just rolls his eyes. She goes, "Are you here to, hunt that thing out in the water, or is this just pleasure trip, or?"
He'll look at Karna for a good 5 seconds, and then just sort of turn to Warren and be like, we're here. You know what? We're exploring. Trying to find some answers.
I nod. You know, that's not wrong. That's definitely pretty true, I think, at this point.
Long ago I said I'd find you one. Just looking for it.
She bites her lip for a second, then goes, Morgan, listen, I know that you've got an issue with the Ka, and I'm not going to try to have this conversation with you again. But if there was a different place, maybe where it was somebody that you trusted that was making decisions, would you ever want to reconsider?
Of course.
Okay.
It wasn't that the third option I was always yelling you about.
Yeah. Listen, Morgaine, we're gonna find somewhere, okay? And at this point in time, Garrow interrupts and says, "Hey, stop it! It's secret." And she just like whirls on him immediately with a fucking speed and a fury that like it's very clear he's crossed the line. And she pulls a spear off her back so quickly and spins it once and takes both his legs up underneath him that like his mouth is still open when his ass cracks against the hard ground and he just like falls back against a nearby bundle of boxes. And she just plants the spear firmly and says, "We've talked about this. That is enough." And then turns back to you, Morgaine.
You've gotten faster.
One of us had to. And then she gives you a little look and sort of, again, just a happy one and resheaths the spear. And that same look of hate contorting on Garrow's face appears for a split second, staring at the back of the leader of this little group from the Ka. Enzo goes, we really have to get going though, guys. It's been great seeing all of you. Good luck with everything.
It was kind of unfortunate. It seems like we couldn't get through the veil between us.
It doesn't seem like that registers for literally any of them, and they
That's
just
exactly
sort
what I wanted.
there's a puzzled look on their respective faces. And Morgaine, your sister looks up at you with a combination of just, again, love and frustration and so much desperate regret in her face as she just says, "Well, I'll see you."
See you.
And she turns and Zolt gives like a very Ka-esque salute, big smile on his face. And then like really quickly, like Warren rushes over to shake your hand. And he goes, "I wish we had a chance to spar again. That was great last time. But this is really important."
Smile.
Just...
No, I hope.
Good.
I hope you find what you're looking for.
We will. We've got pretty precise directions, he says. And he has just this big, he just reminds you of like a big orcish puppy dog almost.
Let Garrow know the offer is still open as it has been for the past 5 years to duel. Hopefully the first time won't be when we're actually trying to hurt each other.
He throws his head back and laughs and goes, "Listen, I'm pretty sure that there's no way that I could hurt you. I remember how he did last time. But listen, I gotta go." And he turns and follows Karna, who is, again, sort of retreating down the steps where there's just people on both sides. And Garrow is the last to fall into step as well, where Sawtooth just lumbers behind them. And people start just cutting a wide berth on either side. And Garrow just like throws his head back over his shoulder and looks at you and again with just like a couple of droplets of his fucking hair grease just like splatter and hit some passerby in the face, and he goes, "Either you join or you die." Again, just big smile and turns and follows step. Morgaine, what do you do?
As soon as the last one turns their back to us, I'm going to pull the Shroud of Oblivion over my head and choose to exclude my companions from its effect say, "Speak quickly and make a decision. Do we want to know what they're going, and would you like me to find out more?"
So I'm going to ignore that because the moment I see Karna just about to leave the door, Morgaine's just going to speak up and like, "Karna, I love you. Stay safe."
Oh.
She turns back again, just face a mixture of emotions, and doesn't say anything. Doesn't nod, doesn't just like mouth slightly agape, sharp inhalation of breath, and then turns and keeps walking.
I trust you, Kyvius. If you think you can know more, then do what you do. Just know that this is a group that I never want to have to turn on.
Believe you me, I have no intention of ever harming a hair on Karna's head. I just want to know if you think it would be advantageous for us to understand more about their quest.
I think it's related to ours, but, it's hard to tell.
Alright, I'm going to try and follow for as long as I can, and I'd like to follow them.
Hell yeah. Kyvius, the Shroud of Oblivion, the way that it works, of course, is that unless you are spending a hero point, they basically have to try to see you. They have to perceive you as you just move through the crowd totally silently. And this sort of just passively means that. So just to clarify, let me just back up with that. So they can see you, right, and they can spot you and stuff. It's just they have to make an insight skill check once it's over to try to remember.
Try and remember me, right? So hey, they turn back and they could see me following, then they'd turn away, and then he was never there. The only way to go real effectively invisible is to blow a hero point.
Right.
Am I working this correctly then?
Right. So if for example, if they spotted you, Garrow might spin around and demand to know what the fuck is going on and why you're following, and then he might punch you in the face. The Shroud of Oblivion doesn't help with that. It just means after he leaves, he will then forget punching you.
Right. So I'm kind of counting on that. I'm not blowing a hero point yet unless I have to. Instead, I would like to move stealthily. But also keep into a way where, if they turn around, I could duck behind a person or duck into an alley, so that they're so that I could break line of sight and try and use it, like Solid Snake.
I'm with you.
He must have disappeared. Does that make sense?
Hell yeah, it sure does. Go ahead and give me both, either a streetwise or a stealth check, whichever you prefer. Epitaph is so fucking packed that it's easily people, if you are more comfortable following across rooftops, for example, or through weaving back alleys, it's really easy to pop out of a back alley, back to the wall, listening in on a few seconds of conversation, then ducking down the next one, as opposed to sort of just shadowing people fully.
Okay.
This city it's so tight.
Would you like a cardboard box?
Hell yeah.
That would actually work, wouldn't it?
And then 14, of course, is a success, and 21 is a massive success. Yeah. So you are able to follow them the entire duration back to their ship. And the Sirocco, as they called it, is extremely, extremely nice. And there's a couple things that you learn. I don't want to dwell on this too much because we have...
Right. Yeah, I didn't want to... Yeah.
But the big things that you pick up on is it is very clear that Polonius, this suit of armor, is only able to do anything when Shireen basically commands it. And every time she gives it a direct order, it is very clear that it flinches and lurches like it's causing it physical pain. Like her words are a whip to this creature's mind, essentially. And the other thing is that as Garrow catches up to Karna and he fucking settles back into, again, almost a militaristic stride, goes... There's no way we're actually leaving, though. We're not going to risk it, right? And Karna goes, no, of course not. I mean, even though the Sirocco is going to be able to outrun whatever that creature is, we're not in a hurry. We'll give it 3 or 4 days, let the people of Epitaph deal with whatever that creature is in the water, and then we'll leave when it's safe. There's no sense risking it. Whoever the people are that Memnon warned us about by way of Adeptus Welk, I don't think they have... any idea that we're on the way west.
Okay,
and then Garrow laughs and goes, wouldn't it be hilarious if it was more gain in his clods? And Zalt very quickly goes, they're not clots. And the last thing you hear is shut up, Zalt, as they continue to make their way back to the ship.
So after they were out of sight and I was unable to glean anything else, I would head back to my companions as quickly as possible and relay all of this information to them.
It's weird because people will like bump into you in these busy streets, and then they'll walk past you and like turn and look back and try to figure out why they just had a moment of like of like frustration or anger or whatever, and it's very bizarre where like somebody will be like shouting like magic salves 15 gold pieces to you and like point you out, and then they'll like pause as you like leave and try to figure out why they're holding their hand out in midair and like in mid sentence, sort of shouting towards the crowd who's looking at them. There's a lot of sheepish people that give you odd looks as you walk past.
Have you seen the Doctor Who episodes of The Silence?
I have not.
The Silence are a species that you can only remember while you're looking at them.
That's perfect.
So this is you should see this for reference because that's what I'm imagining in my head and it's kind of hysterical.
I will check it out.
So yeah, I'd rejoin you guys and kind of relay this all to you and take the shroud down.
Real quick though, like after when Kyvius left the group, the remaining duders, you guys would have noticed that for the entirety of the conversation, Shay had dug her thumbnail into her like her other finger, and there's just like blood pouring down her.
Binks, whether it is because he is interested in your bloody finger, or whether it is because Binks is sensing your discomfort, he has put both of his two front paws up on basically your knee, because he's pretty big, and is just clawing at your pants and just meowing adorably the entire time.
Sure, adorable is the right word to describe a displacer beast.
Yeah. And then like one of the tentacles gets enough airway to kind of like just prod at your knee a little bit. And it stings.
I'm sorry, Shay, that couldn't have been easy. If I would have known, I would. I never saw him while I was there.
Shay's just gonna turn to like the nearest, like, I don't know, like pillar or something. Like, I don't know if there's like a wood rafter or something.
Sure.
And just keep punching the God fucking damn it.
That's...
And you swear you didn't know?
Shay, I wouldn't have left if I knew he was in that state. You know me.
Can I have Morgaine make a bluff check? And can I have Shay make an insight check?
I didn't know I was bluffing. Oh, jeez.
Wait, is it a bluff then?
Yes, it is.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morgaine is definitely telling the truth.
Morgaine was about to be like, shit.
I was having that improv moment. I'm like, I guess it's real. Oh shit, let's go.
Everyone roll initiative. Grapple Shay.
I believe you. It's all right.
What I want to know is how.
God fucking.
So,
just a quick thing. I mean, how? I thought Zolt was held back by the fire back when we were younger. Why is he with the rest of the group right now? Would he not have some kind of anger for the rest of them?
well, they all stayed. I think.
Okay, so am I mean, granted, a lot of things happened. There was a fire, there was a lot of things going on. But what was that look that they gave you, Scheherazade? Why are they so angry with you in particular? Garrow.
It's my fault. It's because it's my fault that we fucked up when we were kids.
Connor, back then, if you remember when we was leaving, blamed Shay for what happened. And I think some of that blame passed on to Garrow and the others.
Yes, but Kana blamed me as well, didn't she?
No, she didn't.
No,
When
not as much.
When I came back, there were conversations, and she would go on rants about you guys. Not for long, mind you. She had other things to do, but I wouldn't say she has the highest opinion of any of you. Not that you've earned it. You couldn't have done anything. You were kids.
We were
We're
all
all
kids.
kids.
So was she.
But
yeah, but
things got better for, as far as I know, and the stories I've been told. Like they just went through what we were supposed to go through, and then things got a little better once Karna came back.
I mean, I can't necessarily put too much blame with her. In her eyes, we killed her brother.
No,
I
in
tried to
eyes,
tell her it
I
wasn't anyone's
killed her brother.
fault. It was, it wasn't any of your fault. I hope you don't all think that, but yeah, I couldn't imagine losing her, and I can't imagine what she must have felt.
Anyway, Morgan, yeah, I believe that that you didn't know. Fuck, I thought, I thought Polo had died until Mother Dearest said something, and then when Gero, said his name, I thought back to that moment. I really, really wanted to do something, but I didn't want to start anything that we weren't all on board with.
I think
Oh, well.
more gain on that will sort of get lower to more eye level with Shay. Be like that. I know it's hard. I'm sorry.
But what they've done to him is not okay.
It isn't. But that's what the COD does, right? It makes you think that they're the only side that matters. They're the only answer, and they make this happen. That's what me and Karna argued about. You only had two answers to the question, and both are ugly. But I believe we can make a third.
I hope so. Fuck.
You know.
I need a drink.
Yeah, no. I understand that right, don't I? What's in there? My eyesight's not too good, but it looked like a lot of black shadow.
I think discussing it right now might not be the best.
No,
I think
Right.
let's
somewhere more private, maybe.
Yeah, why don't we get some food? I'm sure you're all hungry. Get somewhere to sleep, and it's been a bit of a journey. Why don't you all get some rest? I can walk around the town and look for anything we need to find.
It's alright, I've got a place in mind.
Yeah. I do have to, especially. Has Kyvius relayed the information, I'm guessing, at this point?
Yes. Although I may have
Especially
softened the delivery a bit about the Polonia situation in order to spare Shay, or kept it somewhat quieter, just knowing how much it would upset her.
The only thing is, especially knowing that they're not actually leaving for a couple, days and things, I do, before we turn in for the night, have to today talk to the general and
Who's
figure
the
out what's
general?
going on with that. General Trout, he's in charge of, he oversees a lot of the hunts and what's going on with the creatures and things like that. And I got connections with him, so I might be able to figure out,
I'm pretty
info
sure
about
in the
Six
hour that we've
Harbor.
been here, we found you've had connections with everyone.
I chuckle a little.
How many steps will it be before someone else tries to swear fealty to you?
Some guy that's like his face is all scarred up gives Warren the finger guns as he walks past.
Oh my god.
Do you know if they know how to work on Warforged around here? And he tries to lift his right arm, but sort of the damage that's been piling up over combats and forcing it to go through starts lifting, and then like it falls down, and there's a bit of like that Warforged oil seep down through the shoulder, and it doesn't actually get past like halfway up.
I point
Mind
to
if I take a
Shay.
look at that?
I thought we didn't have enough stuff.
We do where we're going.
Yeah. I've got a workshop here.
If you would
probably
like,
take a look.
I don't need much. I just need it patched up a little.
At the mention
mean,
of a workshop, my eyes light up.
Yeah. It's also got a lot of food and entertainment if you get bored.
The city or the workshop?
Near the workshop.
What did we end up doing with that dragon steak?
I still have it.
Did you put it in that same pouch you have the mushrooms in?
Oh god.
No.
Then
In fact, the mushrooms seem to have disappeared. I think they just kind of crumbled and are gone.
I have mentioned about 7 times that they were getting worse, and before today's game, I finally removed them. They are a rotten mess.
So did they disappear, or did Saigar finally throw them out?
Tiger doesn't throw anything away. Let's be real.
Yeah. How many rotted fingers are in there?
I may have ingested at some point in time.
No, you didn't.
No.
no,
You did not.
I feel like he would have gone on a bad trip if he had.
Yeah, I had shit planned in case that happened. No, you were just a candidate for being on the reality TV show Dragon Horde, and Dragon Hoarders, I guess. And yeah, and they just gotten so bad that they just rotted to the point that there's now mold growing on your mold.
I've cleaned my bag out. The traces of them are gone.
Okay.
So what do we want to do? We need. There's the general. Shay says she can at least get me into functioning order.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's I think that plus visiting the general. I mean, do we need to do both exclusively, or is the general maybe on the way to the workshop?
I mean, it's mostly. I'm not making any sort of commitments yet. I'm just getting information. So if it was just me and Erie to have the I think it's on the way. It'll only take a moment.
It's not too far off.
So let's go visit this general and then head to the workshop.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. We've had enough dealings with political stuff and all kinds of things the past few days anyway.
Do you trust this general?
With my life.
Okay, but no fights.
No.
He's waving his one good arm finger around.
He's the shape of a retired general. He won't be fighting.
No, I just meant with the populace.
Oh! Yeah, I'll avoid it.
And as Warren utters that phrase and you start making your way down the city streets, and we've talked, it's weird. There's a local gang who starts shouting threats at a passerby, and there's this beautiful fountain square where there's women and kids talking and cleaning, and you guys bump past what is basically a funeral procession heading to what you kind of gather is it must be sort of Epitaph Cemetery, where everybody, as this procession goes down the street, they all take their hats off. Even the big burly pirate soldier types take their hats off, and they all lower their heads to give a moment of silence as people walk past, shouting that, "Here lies Havas the Hallowed," as he is taken to a place that you hear is called the House of Blades, which is where he will be laid to rest. And there's some people who shake their heads and go, yet another casualty of the Blessed Hunt. We need to get a clear winner soon, because this has got too many people way too competitive over nothing. And it's about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. It's getting late in the day, where that the general is probably just getting ready to sort of close down. And a lot of the little local stalls are also closing down as well, where you only get a couple of shouts, where there's a very fabulous looking tiefling who offers to trade a quaddle feather boa with Kyvius's glasses. And like he throws it around his neck and does like a little pirouette spin to show you how incredible this boa is.
Quite stylish, but these glasses are one of a kind. Wait,
And there's somebody.
Wait, I think I still have them right here.
Nice.
Fantastic. And there's a person who is like carving globes into these big, massive pearls, where they're all, perfect little renditions of this small little half-broken isle of Rios. But then the rest of the world is basically just scribbles, like it's his imagination for what sort of lies beyond this globe. And most people, again, are shaking their heads at this as well, because everybody knows that the world is flat. And there are people who are offering to sell you centuries-old wine from extinct grapes to you, Saigar. And it looks just like a regular bottle of wine. You don't see anything special about it. And then to Erie, somebody shouts about this velvet-lined jewelry box that was stolen from the bonds mages personally, and whatever lies inside has been blocked with a powerful enchantment. Only 40 gold pieces. Things like that. The main thing that you guys notice is that at your sort of heading towards the Generals, which is located on Blackstern Way, just down past Cork Boulevard, is that there is a single stall that has a whole bunch of basically lanterns, but inside each of them is a little glowing will-o'-the-wisp. And as you guys get closer and walk past it, you notice that all of these will-o'-the-wisps, which have been kind of just sort of floating around, basically plaster themselves to the glass walls of the lantern, and they very slowly follow Kyvius's movements around in, again, perfect sync. You guys
Fuck.
He's a fey back.
Warren, I think they're following you. We should move quickly.
Oh yeah, no, me.
Are they're all chanting, Kyvius, give it back.
And Shroud goes up.
Yeah. The store was like, they like you, buy one, right? And you're like, no, thank you.
I've got 3 back at home, don't worry.
But it's also one of the very first times that you guys have been able to see the constellations by night, because most of the time it is completely covered by the howl. But it's almost like a peaceful place here for once, where the constant vortex above you is just a little bit more translucent than normal, and you can make out all of the different constellations that are high in the sky. Io's Delight and the King Star and the Minotaur and the Nadir, the Rising Heart, the Summer Sight, the Chalice, Destiny, Eagle's Eye, any of those, the famous constellations that you all know, with, of course, smack dab in the center is the one that is the most closely associated with the Raven Queen. And it's just the one that sort of depicts her patchwork quilt and the needle and the thread constantly weaving through, that you can make out clearly in the night sky before sort of a bit of lightning flashes up in the highest reaches of the howl, and it begins to sort of form once more, and the side of the constellations are lost. And you pass a side street called Shaw's Folly, which leads down outside of the city and out towards where the long route would be that would take you eventually to sort of the sacred site where Erithus was supposed to have died. And there's nobody traveling down this road at this hour, and instead you make your way basically down to sort of the harbor district, essentially, to a place called the Breaking Point, named for first of all, the giant musical instrument shop here that is like a 4-story building that says like broken drums, they can't be beat in the windowsill, and just again tons of musical instruments and things like that. And Breaking Point seems to be named specifically after this place because the second floor has been converted into a place where pirates and barbarians and people here can basically just go in there and smash everything to fucking bits to blow off steam for a couple of hours, and then wizards with a mending spell like just repair it for the next customer. And as you go past, you can just hear the sounds of just absolute destruction happening from the second floor, and like a chair is thrown out the window, and you can hear somebody shout like, that costs extra. And when you do finally make your way down to the Generals, which is this 2 stories isn't the right way to put it. You can kind of see by the picture, it's kind of a ramshackle ship, basically, that's been flipped over and then built upon many times, where what was once obviously very clearly somebody's pride galleon has now been transformed into sort of the weirdest kind of hodgepodge shop you can probably imagine. And out front, there's this large statue of this stern-looking military man with, awesome mutton chops and a powerful mustache and a stern look, who kind of looks like Colonel Mustard from the Clue game, and just military medals all across his chest. And as you get close, rather as you pass the statue, you can see that as you walk past it, the other half, like a Two-Face style situation, has like tentacles protruding from its face, and it's on the other side of him is strange and alien. And the general store here on Breaking Point is mostly desolate, except for a few couple customers who are still lingering around. And as you step in, there's a tiny little bell that ding-ling-dings across the doorway as you step in. The person who you don't assume is the general at first, because he looks nothing like the statue outside, other than a general sort of facial hair, sort of shouts at all of you, like, "Come on in, you're letting the warm out." I'm going to just grab his item card here real quick. And it is a bizarre shop filled with all kinds of stuff. There's a couple of people who are checking out some of the things that he has still for sale, but it's such a set of oddities here that it's really hard to find anything immediately that looks like it's of value. And he doesn't really notice you as you first come in, and he returns to the conversation that he's having with the customer, where they're clearly bartering over the price of some type of weapon, where he goes, "Now, you ever hear the phrase, you judge a man by the way he treats his lessers? Now, I'm not saying I want any help from the damn king's army, but you'd think after killing a few hundred world-ending monstrosities, somebody might come and fix the leak in the damn roof, is all I'm saying."
Always were a fan of taking things to extremes, right?
And he looks up and goes, "Captain Warren! Captain Erie! As I live and breathe! Well, come in, come in! Shall I throw this other riffraff out?" This like fox-tailed woman looks up at him with like confusion and horror. And General Lucian Latrout, majestically climbs over the counter, which is not even remotely majestic, where they end up, he like throws one big leg over the counter and then sets his stomach onto it, and then sort of like half slides over until he is on the other side, and just rushes over to Warren and Erie, and just greets them both with just magnanimous, like he can barely hold it in how excited he is.
Spry is, the day you... I don't have any good jokes today. I got a lot on my mind.
Spry is the day the sea tried to take me, took one good long suckle, and spat me back onto the beach.
And left you more the man than you were before.
Oh, sorry. What about that, Shay? My apologies.
Did you just delete my cat?
I didn't mean to. I put it on the wrong layer.
Yay!
I had your cat there, and I was like, oh, it's on the wrong layer.
It's multiplying. It's learning illusion magic.
No.
It's learning its first illusion spell.
My immersion was breaking because we weren't on the map.
No, I'm sorry. You were on the wrong layer for some reason. That's my apologies. I'm going to go correct the map now.
It's going to poop on the carpet, but it'll only be the illusion version of it, so then the poop will disappear as soon as you try to clean it up.
You've thought this out.
Hopefully the card appeared for everybody, and
oh, sorry.
Lucian Latrout
Yes.
goes.
Yeah.
So, Captain Erie, Captain Warner, how can I be of service to you both today?
So, normally I'd love to stand around and ask you about everything in your shop for hours, but I'll just be frank with you. Things seem like they're not going too well around here.
What makes you say that? He says, and there's like a look of like genuine confusion. Things have never been better.
No, not your store. I mean, the island, the ocean, the sea creature.
It's the first time that all the troops have been able to work together.
I look confused.
He realizes and he goes to explain and goes, if you're here for the Blessed Hunt, I'm afraid you're too late. Most of the targets have already been defeated. Victoria's Secret and Flurry of Bros are still out there, but Black in the Sky killed the Siege Crab. More Ambiguity took the Needletooth Swarm. Sun Silver Enterprises is after the pack of Rune Hounds along the west coast. Collateral Crew was after the three-headed troll. The speakers of the Sphinx are after the Briar Golem of the Lowborn Thicket. Why, even the newcomers are out there. The Pursued and Spider-Man 3.
These are all team names? Like, what are they?
For example, Spider-Man 3 is a group of 3 drow who's just come to the island.
Do they dress all in black and walk around doing finger guns?
They don't, but they're not particularly well liked. Can't trust the drow, you know.
No, you can't. Oh my god.
The only group still sitting out is Flit and Steel, led by Flit and Stone Glory himself.
No, it's...
He sort of peers over your shoulder, looks at the rest of you and goes, you might know Flitten as being called Puddles on account of how he makes his team call him that since he wet the bed as a child.
Is there like a tally board somewhere here that has like who is winning in these conquests?
He nods to this. He says, old Uzumaya has a current log of the current remaining creatures here on the isle. But the point is that there ain't that many left, to be honest with you. We're expecting to hear a winner any day here now. When we find out who's the winner, they'll be going off and killing the Kraken and winning fame and glory for their family for generations.
Okay, so here's the problem. Right, okay.
Problem?
Here's what you put in front of me. We're sending one group out to kill the Kraken, right?
As is tradition.
There's not a group on this island that can kill that Kraken and not die.
Pish posh, he says. Look, bigger creatures have fallen to the might of folks like the Flurry of Bros. If they can't do it, well, the next group can.
Why is it only one group gets to face off the Kraken? And you sound like this has happened multiple times in history.
Not a Kraken per se. When the Ageless emerge, you're not from around here, are you?
It's tradition upon the Isle that whenever an Ageless of certain size or threat appears, that the groups compete for the right to hunt it. Then they hunt it one by one until a victor emerges and he gets the glory for killing.
It's precisely it, the general says. Look,
and have any groups gone after this Kraken yet?
No, yeah, they're competing for the glory to see who's going to get to do so. Look, you get enough people in the area, right, in one condensed little spot, and eventually a hierarchy has to form. In High Helm, the hierarchy is based on wealth, right? And in the car, either you fall into step with the number of rings you've got, or whether or not your skin is gold, or you die. Here in Epitaph, we sort of keep the peace and the law together by common consensus, right? The people who deserve respect earn respect. Everybody knows who's on top, everybody knows who's on bottom, and that's all there is to it.
Right. And my friend, the general here, never tires of the number of times that I try to break his system.
I It's true, it's always a breath of fresh air, but it's easy for him to do, for Jam Dunk was on top in a matter of months after arriving.
Are they still on top?
He says, it's this competition what's gonna figure that out.
Ah.
For many years, the all-female crew of Victoria's Secret has always competed against the all-male team of the Flurry of Bros.
Goes
now-
back generations.
And now that my boys and the Axbeak Riders have retired, it's left sort of a void that this competition is going to see the end to, unless Jam Dunk's back for good.
There are ageless off the island.
He pauses at this. He goes, no, it can't be right. We've gotten all of them.
I recently was in High Helm, and there was a caterpillar that was being assaulted by the King's Own Royal Guard, and they weren't able to slay it. I don't know where it came from.
From literally, like in any other conversation,
Yeah.
Warren speaking about this deadly caterpillar in such like stoic terms would be borderline ridiculous. But between these two individuals, there's a very clearly like a sense of seriousness to this, where again, like you can just see this brow furrow and his jowls vibrate a little bit in thought. And he goes, well, it can't be right. We've never seen an ageless not come from the island before. And mark me, Warren, people have been so intent on usurping you in your absence that there hasn't been a single one which went missing. Except, of course, for, the big one.
No, that makes me feel a little good inside. But it gets worse than that. And part of the reason I brought a whole group is because they all see it. For the first time, we've been doing this a long time, me and you, and other people on this island, but we saw gnolls take on ageless traits. Humanoid creatures.
I mean, like the hyena men.
Yeah.
Wait, that ain't right, though.
That's not how it works. It's never been how it's worked. You've been here longer than me. There's never been another sort of thing like that, right? I'm not just missing details.
Well, he says, and he pauses and thinks. He goes, well, there was the Harpy Queen, right, from about, 10 years ago. But it just turned out to be a real overgrown Harpy and not a real ageless. And same thing with the three-headed troll, right? Wasn't a proper ageless, but it was a real nasty beastie. Maybe these I don't mean to second guess Captain Grant, nor do I mean to assume that your first mate there doesn't know what he's seen either. But the fact an ageless appearing off the island is unheard of.
Yeah, no, I know.
But either way, events are already in motion, right? That things are going to be taken care of. Once a Kraken is dead, you'll be able to talk to whoever sort of the new champion is here and state your case.
What? Morgan, you saw this thing. What are the chances of... I mean, the way that you described it, what are the chances of someone actually being able to defeat this?
How big are the groups?
I range anywhere from 3 to 7. Back in my heyday, Axbeak Company was 24, although we only ever did units of 8, what with the Axbeaks not being sociable creatures and all.
If they have anything less than a battalion, they're dead.
It's not really how we operate around here, Mr. Robot.
Morgan, what do you mean by like a battalion?
I would guess a thing that size, just the boat getting out there, you'd be swallowed whole, and it would have a room for about 4 more. Actually, no, about 10 more.
The Fox Lady's like, I think I should leave.
I think I remember Warren saying it. You guys only fight on land, right?
Most of the time.
Do any of the top teams even know how to swim and fight?
Oh my god, I didn't have your fucking tokens on the map. I'm so sorry, guys. I can see
Anyway.
this on the GM layer.
It's big. I can't imagine anyone killing it, but Warren's the expert of this area, so like it expanded horizons.
It's not that I don't think it's killable. It's that I don't believe that going with the regular team size is sort of gonna necessarily work out here.
Do you think there's any possibility of getting them to collaborate, though? It doesn't sound... I mean, from the way that Mr. Captain General is describing it, it doesn't sound like there's any possibility of anybody working together on this.
It goes
Could
against
you convince them? Could anyone convince them?
I mean, traditions and all are great, but when you're dealing with a real situation like this, I think pragmatism should be the word of the day.
Well, it's not just pragmatism we're fighting against, or an impractical nature. What he just described was quite literally the governing hierarchy of Epitaph. I don't think it's as simple as appealing to logic here. I guess I'm wondering, is there anything that we could do? Because I mean, at least the impression I'm getting is we couldn't go to each of them and just convince them. Am I right?
Not when most of them are already on the hunt anyway, and even if they did, unfortunately, you'd be outright.
No, but I sort of had an idea that is really, really, really against what you're supposed to do on Epitaph, and I think it will get me in a lot of trouble. But I really like it.
Is this a conversation that you and I shouldn't be having here?
And who's this random person that we're talking in front of?
This little gnome is like, I was just leaving!
No, because you're important to this island, and I trusted you for a long time. If I'm gonna do something stupid, you should know.
The conversation is interrupted very, very briefly by a very long fart let out by what you now see is basically a large stink bug that has grown to like 4 feet in length. It's like behind the counter that rolls around like a big stink buggy armadillo. And the general looks back at all of you and goes, hey, don't mind him. I promise I'll kill him soon, Warren.
I mean, you do whatever you like.
Fucking Stygar starts looting. He goes, well, listen, people can be back from the hunt here soon enough, and then you'll be able to talk to whoever was the victor.
That's good, but, whoever sets off for killing that Kraken is going to have a hell of a time stopping me from coming with them.
Well, okay, so just, again, unfamiliar with the customs, unfamiliar with the hierarchy, but if Jam Dunk were to be on top again...
Right.
And invited other teams to come along and share in the glory of destroying the Kraken, do you think they would come along?
It's not so much if Jam Dunk was on top, they could invite others. Jam Dunk could be calling the shots. If they thought a different approach was necessary, then and so be it. Folks would be honor bound to listen or to continue falling.
So we have to be on top. Or more specifically, Jam Dunk has to be on top.
It's a fine thought, he says, but unfortunately impossible. And he makes his way back over to sort of the table, where he brushes some large stone chunks away and lays out a large map of the island. He goes, come here, Warden, Captain Grant, Erie, come look at this. And he sort of points to a couple of different spots around here on the island and goes, now, see, these were the remaining hunts, right, before this blessed hunt was called, right? You remember the sage crab here on the west, the rune hounds on the east coast. We talked about this, yeah?
Right.
Right. So there's only 2 targets, right, that still remain. There's the Thunderbird here at the apex of Ilwyn Reach, and it's worshipped by that pack of Arpies we talked about earlier. There's also a saltwater drake here in the Gravedigger's Tunnel, which you can really only access when the tide goes down. But even if you killed both of these things, which again ain't possible because you can't be in 2 places at the same time, even if you killed both of these, you'd still only be tied with whoever comes in first. Ain't no way.
So, what's a? It's been a long time since there's been a tie. What's the protocol on that one?
I suppose it would sort of depend on which team ends up winning. You know, if it's either Victoria's Secret or the Florida Bros, both of whom are currently likely to be the victorious ones, I'd probably delay things until there was another proper hunt and let the Kraken live out there until the opportunity for a first place arose.
And what if somebody from the island just broke all tradition and went after it?
I mean, you're welcome to it by all means, but you know, there's a procedure here what we follow.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to weigh my options. I think so. If we tied,
Which again ain't possible unless you're killing 2 things at once
2 things at once,
on
if we
opposite
tied-
sides of the island, no less.
right, but if we did,
Then these 2 silver marks here are still not enough to get you to surpass the gold mark, which has already been killed by either the other 2.
So wait. I thought you were saying we'd be tied with first place if we killed both of them.
You'd be tied.
Right, and that's what I'm asking you though. What happens in that case?
Again, it's sort of been up. It's been a long time since we had a tie, right? It's normally we'd wait for another ageless to show up on the island, and then the 2 highest ranking teams here would go after it, and thus the tie would be broken, and that could be weeks.
So the tie doesn't help us at all.
But again, Gem Donk, nothing personal, but you're certainly not in a hurry. Again, if Victoria's Secret or Florida Bros comes back as the winners, and you can state your case with them, ain't no need for you to compete if you don't want to.
I think we all really want to compete, but we just don't know how.
I was thinking we know another group of 6 people who really need to get off this island.
You are not thinking what you just said.
It would be
mean-
the craziest thing I've ever thought of.
No,
Well, they would
that
get-
Honorary
is
members for a day.
pretty damn crazy. And if you think I'm going to make it through a battle without punching Garrow right in the face, you better think again.
Oh,
Well,
we wouldn't be like mixing the teams.
I don't think. Yeah, no. We would just need, I think, a representative from each.
I don't trust them at all.
Yeah, we'll send
Mm.
Garrow to kill
Karna.
the saltwater drake, and the rest of us will go after the harpy.
Garrow will go with Karna and Zalt and their team to kill one. If we convince them that it's in the cause best interest, Karna will keep them in line.
I'd like step up and lower my voice and try not to have Shay hear me and just say we cannot do that to Shay. We absolutely cannot do that to Shay.
What if we presented it as a challenge to them? Like they're not tough
We
enough
don't
to
need
do it.
to. We could, that would get Garrow. I don't think that would get Karna. I think if we presented to Karna that it would make their trip easier and less risky, they might be obliged to, not obliged, but they might consider it. But
It's not
yeah,
even.
Kyvius is right. Just Shay, this is really your call.
It's not even that we'd be working together. It's just that we both need something. We won't even have to see each other.
Well, wait. Okay, alternative idea.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh, sorry.
The general says for a quick second. How big is this other group? What you're talking about?
Oh,
2, 3.
no, 6.
Listen. Forgive me for saying so, Captain Grant. There ain't never been. If it's the 6 of you, there ain't never been a group of 12 operating under the title of a single team of 4.
But your team had 24.
24 in rotation, right, but we only add 8 axe beakses at a time, and that was the largest team the island's ever seen. I really hope we stay in this shop a lot longer so I can keep doing this voice.
But if we
Does that mean it's not allowed?
It's not that it's not allowed, it's just that if you wound up tying, right, and it's all about a system of respect.
Right.
I think you'd be odd pressed to argue that your 12 was just as successful as the 5 or the 6. Although, he says, I mean, Jam Dunk operated for years as a group of 2. I have no doubt in my bones, and if it came down to it, no doubt Jam Dunk could easily handle a threat like the Thunderbird, for example.
Like, if we're really talking about it, there's a tie. You make it sound like there would be a debate on whose kill was better.
That's
But
essentially
then-
it, but
You got a lot of balls. You're saying if we had the macho to split ourselves free and free and kill these 2 beasts, you think that would probably be enough?
I'm afraid not, he says, Captain Grant. He shakes his head. No, even then, I think that you'd be coming in tied. There's only 2 known creatures left here on the island, and they're both silver ranks, and there ain't much left for you, I'm afraid.
And Morgaine would sort of like sigh a little bit, but what if we duel to decide a winner?
He shakes his head and goes, again, it's mostly a situation of honor, where I have no doubt you could do it, but if you're expecting the rest of the island to fall into step just because you found a one-on-one duel to overtake the other, that'd be a hard-pressed argument as well. I suppose it's possible.
What about the caterpillar that we killed? Wouldn't that count towards us?
You got any proof?
Oil of its blood right here.
Shay's got some blood. I've got an arrow still dipped in its poison that you wouldn't let me fire.
Have literally everything but its bones, and even some of those.
we could piece it
I
back
mean,
together right
Warren
here.
ate it.
Yeah, it would be a horrifying process to watch, but I could probably, if we had a couple hours.
Regurgitate.
The stinger hasn't been turned into any powers yet, so I could maybe. I don't
Like
think
a
it'd be in
python
one
eating a
piece.
cow, but in reverse, where the cow
But
is
can
slowly
you just show
coming
the
out.
stinger and the blood? Oh, sorry, Morgan.
Well, the stinger's in me
Did you
somewhere.
regurgitate it?
I'm not sure. Not something I've done very often.
She has the blood. I mean, we have ageless blood here.
It wouldn't be my first plan, he says, but it's a possible.
Sorry, what's possible?
You might be able to argue that you killed one even before the Blessed Hunt started, but again, it's not really regulation.
I'm sure you can look the other way in this particular case. After all, we did take one out, and it has strayed away from the island.
Arguing with you, but it does muddy the waters somewhat if we open it to a Blessed Hunt where maybe more ambiguity shows up and claim they killed 3 ageless over the weekend, right? It's a bit complicated.
He's not trying to, stop us or nothing. He's saying that if we're trying to get a bunch of groups to go hunt for big thing, it's important the way we present our information if we actually want them to do it with us.
That's precisely right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's less about having the absolute authority, but if we did tie, that might help our argument. Not saying this is a good idea.
And that means splitting up half and half. If we wanted the possibility of taking down these 2 silver ranks at the same time.
Because they might believe us if we tie them. Maybe. I'm not sure. This place seems backwards to me.
I don't disagree. Okay, so let's re-examine what we're trying to do here, because I just want to make sure.
And before you keep talking, I just want to say that the general says, "But if you all going to hunt a couple of ageless," and he starts to climb back over the countertop as best as possible, and again, it's a slow process. He goes, "Why don't you spend some of your hard-earned gold here at my shop?" And he gets all the way over the counter and then has to spend the next 5 minutes just huffing and puffing and very clearly a little asthmatic.
You know what, General? I'll give you my entire coin purse for what's ever on that shelf up there.
He goes, "Which shelf?"
The one behind you.
He glances towards the large cupboard and then back you and goes, "It was the first fish I ever caught. No trade."
No, the glowy green thing.
Oh, right, yes. It's it wouldn't do you much a good, young Captain Eddie. There's a rune clasp, good for the barbarian types who need to throw a weapon what ain't otherwise be normally thrown.
Pretty useful. Just to Kyvius, your thing you were saying.
Well, maybe we should wait until we're just sit down for a discussion later about our current priorities and goals.
Right. Just to make things clear to all of you, I'm not trying to delay us or distract us, but as things stand, and I look to the general and back, we can't leave with the residuum we got, and the only boat that we could take is currently being taken. So we've got no way off this island unless we figure out how to deal with this.
If we no boat is going to take us until this is dealt with, right? Or basically, until this Leviathan is gone, we aren't getting to our destination. And I'm going to specifically say our destination in case anybody's listening.
I mean, technically, if we really wanted to leave that badly, we could melt down some of the items we have to get across the trench.
It was a lot, wasn't it? Steel to fly across here this was the big cost one.
This was the smaller of the 2 cost ones, where you guys it would be about 700 worth of residium to get across this batch of the trench. You guys have 450 currently, but Erie is absolutely correct. You certainly could destroy your current magic items to get enough residium to make your way across.
We just need to destroy 4 items.
It would be a bunch.
Got it.
I mean, what if you destroy the lamp? That could be probably 1,000 residium right there.
Yeah.
That's like 2 birds, 1 stone, right?
What oh, destroying the lamp?
Yes, because we think it's too powerful anyway.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm skeptical as well, in case it's needed for something. But
How? I mean, reading the description of what could we possibly use it for. The person who's going to take it is condemned to a life of being a djinn, and the lamp itself is dangerous in the wrong
I
hands.
mean,
I almost.
on the plus side of this, if in the event that certain people are on an opposing mission, this would ensuring the monster wasn't killed would certainly delay them.
It
Wink,
would.
wink. If we just flew the rest of the way.
It's a thing. I think. I'm just.
I
Yeah,
agree with you, Kyvius. I
I'm
mean,
really
if
torn.
I'm kind of with you, Kyvius. I mean, on the other hand, though, are we trying to help the people here as well by taking it out?
There
Well,
is the chance
strangely,
they'll sort of kill themselves
that's. I mean,
against
that's
this.
true. I mean, if these people are friends of yours, I. It's honestly, I'm extremely torn right now. I truly don't know what the best answer is, and yeah, I can see going either way here.
We've
There is
well,
someone here who might have some alternative information.
that's true. That's a good resource.
Or know something that's on the down low.
Yeah.
Well, should we do some shopping and then make our way to this mysterious person?
I think that's a fine idea, says the general.
Also, I know it's ridiculous and there's a lot of grudges and things, but I wouldn't completely shut down the idea of potentially moving our group from 6 to 8 and splitting into groups of 4 if we do hunt these creatures. Recruiting only 2 of them. Probably the 2 we like better. Open mind's important. Chop away.
Well, General, if we are going to be hunting, my big clanky robot friend back there, he's kind of lacking a weapon right now. Do you know if you have anything that you could loan for him? You know, we'll bring it back. You know I'm good for it, right?
Do I ever, he says. You pay the 40 gold what Jam Dunk owes me for that last assignment, and I've got just the thing for him. And again, he fucking, like, climbs on his stomach and gets across the fucking desk. And it's very clearly, like, taking him some work. Mm-hmm. And he makes his way across to a large two-handed greatsword that's hanging off of the wall. And he says, "This here is a blade you can count on. I call it the Abacus Sword."
It looks cool.
It is that, he says, and he sort of like takes it down off the wall, and he hands it over to you, Warren, and he takes a few steps back and goes, "All right, give it a swing."
It'd make a great addition to our party. To help
I
subtract
try-
it from our foes.
I tried to
So we can divide and conquer.
with my
It is way too heavy for you, but you get like one swing out. And as you do so, there's the sound of like click clack clacking on the inside of the blade, like an abacus beads, and you watch as the first third of it lights up this vibrant, beautiful, glowing blue, and then it slowly begins to sort of fade over time. And you give it a second to swing as fast as you possibly can. The second set lights up into this vibrant, glowing green, and you can feel the blade just like thrumming with power. But you are unfortunately not fast enough with just how heavy this thing is to swing it basically 3 times in the span of a couple of seconds, and pretty soon the light fades. And he goes, I've never had anyone skilled enough, short of Silvestro himself, of course, who brought this in here initially, who's ever been able to use it to its full potential. But he's powerful, I'll tell you that.
Well, good news for you. Morgaine, you want to give it a go?
Like, I only have one arm.
It's all right, big fella like you. And besides, price tag is price to clear 2,200 crowns.
2,200 crowns. What is that in gold pieces?
2,200. Sorry about that.
Or you cover our debt.
Eerie, neither of us have any gold.
I know.
How does this always happen? I feel like I'm responsible with money.
He goes, well, as always, if you do have any of the oddities that you mentioned from this caterpillar, I'm always interested in buying or trading.
Oh no, we found a shop for them to sell the things.
Oh no! No!
Steel, don't give up this validation!
Steel, please!
You've doomed us all!
Oh god!
Well,
Next
then,
we're
now
gonna have
you,
a finger purveyor.
I think I look over at Shay and like eyes light up. I
Oh,
do
yeah.
believe we have some items.
File table.
He takes like a good long look at the fact that it's all the way across his shop and like and starts walking back towards the table as fast as he can. And again, like takes a good long look at this and goes, Captain Grant, Captain Erie, can you verify this here's genuine?
Wait, which thing did they put down?
The vial of ageless blood.
I can definitely verify, way I usually do, and I bring the hand up close to it, not putting it in or anything, and you can see just being near it kind of makes the arm freak out a little bit. Yeah, no, that's the thing.
It's good enough for me. Well, listen, I don't know what you must have sold the other thousands of vials you must have got from it. I'd say 200 for this one.
Good lord.
I'll go 2. Now this was difficult to get.
All right,
put
let's say 220.
Okay, 220 for the vial, but how much for the blood?
When I first met her.
Oh, I got it. Yes, that's quite a good one, Captain Mary. Obviously, if you were participating in the whatever bits of beasties you might come back with, I'd be interested, for example, in a thunderbird wing or a beak or feathers, or if you go after the rain drake, saltwater drake, pardon me, accent starting to slip. I'm sure there's plenty of part of a little miniature drake that I'd be interested in.
What else you got here other than the sword?
And over there, he says, and he points to the suit of armor across the wall next to his butterfly collection. It's the armor of tragedy. What allows you to fake your death for long periods of time, roughly around 6 to 8 months. I personally recommend it. You've already seen there the abacus sword. Ace here, he says, and sort of points to the rocks on the table next to Erie. Ace here, some depleted iron stones. Got no use for them no more, but I'd let those go for 150. Let's see here what else we got. Room to the left there, he says it's got a suit of Kraken Hunter armor. A Kraken Hunter garb on the left-hand room there. I might let that go for 1,900. Give yourself, Krakeny arms and tendrils and swim in the water and what have you. Let's see. I already mentioned the rune clasp of returning. What to Captain Erie there. let you throw an axe and have it returned right back to your hand. As he points to the little basket right next to him on the counter. This here's the rainfall cask. If you ever wanted to run across water or up a wave, pretty handy stuff. Coin there next to your Shadow Kai lady there. That's the coin of dusk and dawn. Easy to demonstrate. He goes over and picks it up and he flips it and drops it in the palm of his hand, and it sort of shows the sign of the moon, basically, and immediately plunges a huge area into darkness. And just like the darkness spell, essentially, he puts it in a box and closes the box. He goes, well, I couldn't conduct business in the dark, but that's what it does. 100 gold pieces for that.
You have any residual?
I am all out.
What about this amulet in the bottom right here?
I almost forgot about that, he says, and he sort of goes like 3 steps over and then stops. He goes, there's a second skin amulet. Don't be confused by the demonic visage upon it. It allows you to possess a creature, an animal, whether like living or dead, for a few minutes at a time, much like your pussycat there. See through its eyes, travel where you wouldn't be able to travel otherwise. That were there 650 gold pieces. There, he points a little piece of paper hanging above the top of the counter. There's the writ of Obad Eye. If you've got an animal companion, that will allow it to grow big and strong at an accelerated rate. When there is 300. And I think that's everything. And as he says this, he sort of like takes a few steps over this way, as if to block Warren's view, and sort of just sort of stops halfway.
I'm interested in that paper.
It will be 300 gold pieces, and a very good purchase it is. And he starts making his way over to like hop on the side of the counter again and retrieve it for you.
Kaz, what's our current balance sheet at? Do we have any money?
304.
God damn, we are poor.
I have a little reserve fund, but I don't think we want to use it here.
I'll tell you what. You said you'd do 220 for the...
No, I think
what
we do. I think there's
blood.
a couple of things that we want here, and I think we should go hunt some monsters and go get him what he wants, and so we get that sword.
Do you have like a normal longsword?
This isn't really a place to sell normal weaponry, although you're certainly welcome to stop by the House of Blades and get yourself one.
Cool.
Could we buy things on credit?
I'm afraid I don't know that word.
As in, like, we owe you, and you know that we're good for our word.
I owe you.
Look, you just need to lend Warren 40 gold, and then we'll take the sword on loan, and then when we kill the monster, if it's good, then we can pay the rest for it, right?
He thinks about this. He goes, well, Gem Dunk, are you certainly good for it? We could talk in detail of those things that you were desperately after. But first, if you're going to get involved in any of these monster hunting expeditions, now is the best time to go declare your 2 targets and best be off with you.
I would like to dip into the party coffers.
Oh my.
We only have 300 gold in the party coffer.
40 gold.
No, but I thought he said that cost 300 gold.
No,
he has personal gold.
Yeah, and the vial is his.
Where are you all getting personal gold from?
You should be. There's a lot of personal gold.
I have
We'll talk about it during the break.
I have 43 gold pieces.
I have handed out the gold on like 2 occasions. If you aren't managing the money I'm giving you, that's on you.
We will determine personal gold during the break.
Oh yeah, we should totally take a break. It's been ages.
But yeah, I was also going to say we're at kind of like the halfway mark of the night.
For sure.
But Shay is interested in doing so what, I'll do the 220 for the Ageless Blood, and then I'm going to take 40 out of the party loot, and then do 40 of mine.
It's interesting that the 220 for the Ageless Blood you've decided is just all yours.
He said...
He did extract
it. I did take the blood.
I'm just saying. I'm just wanting to check. But we'll figure out shopping after the fact here for the break. Was there anything anybody wanted to say before we do so, before that's not shopping related?
Thank you for doing the voice for so long.
Yeah. is it okay if we fast track the declaration of kills? Is that important to RP in any way?
Sort of.
Okay.
Basically, declaring that you are okay tying is a big decision.
Okay. I feel like the way you phrased that was like there was a secret monster.
You want to
Like
roll an intelligence check or a history check?
Oh my god, no, wait. Those are yeah, because we could do something really stupid and go after some of the ones that are never killed on the island, couldn't we?
There
God.
is specifically one that has long eluded Jam Dunk that they have basically decided is like this yes.
This is like the platinum rank
Well,
monster.
we're going for that one then.
Oh,
You had to
okay,
say
here we
that.
are. Okay, break time
Let's
before we go
take
beat
a
the
break
yeah.
before we talk for another 30 minutes.
Well, really quick,
Because that's what's going to happen.
The last thing is like Warren's like, wait, no, holy shit, there is one more. There is like one more gold hound out there. And the general goes, well, there you go then. If you were to do that one and then either of the silvers, that would put you in guaranteed first place. And nobody could argue with that. Let's take a 10-minute break, guys.
Alright.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I am not leaving this shop without that fucking piece of
Oh my god, I'll see you at 33.
See, this is where my character and my player collide.
Right.
I want to go on Monster Hunter adventure. Morgane wants to take the Phoenix
Completely
and go.
agree. Completely agree. Mark the player wants to play Monster Hunter right now.
Like, I want to play the game. I want to push buttons and do all this stuff and be really fun. We should really take Bird and go. That gives us a 3-day.
No. Listen, it's we'll convince Morgan because Saigon wants to shoot some arrows. So
I don't
Back in 10.
almost like we need like a pick me up after that horrible defeat.
Like we don't need to fly over more of Steel's content.
Yeah.
I think the amount of because it's really hard for me too because I'm trying to decide what Warren would do. There's the part of him that really doesn't want because this is also an opportunity to change the way Epitaph works, which he's wanted to do for years. I don't know. It's hard. I think there's enough of us who really want to hunt monsters that maybe we should just do it though.
Yeah.
So many of us as players just want to.
I know where this is going, right? We're gonna hunt monsters and do all this shit, and by the time we're done, we're like, oh yeah, they left a day ago.
It's possible.
Like that. That's where my mind takes me. I don't fucking care. I think I already know the argument that probably could be made to Morgane that would make him on board, but I think base level he wouldn't. Like he wants to get there. You have a mission.
If we ever get too far behind, we just Zagglebite ahead. With all the cash we get from killing giant monsters.
So when we're writing the strategy guide for Steel's campaign for other people that run it, I think flying summon is tier 1.
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
Tier 2 would be fast wolf creature, and the D tier would be turtle.
It's important to reference Zagglebite as kind of like your mushroom boost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Just zip past him on the finish line, yeah.
If we need to do 2 hunts though, and one of them is the big holy shit what the fuck that we need a lot of people for.
Yeah.
How are we gonna
It's not easy.
No.
It's not meant to be easy though, right? Bad.
First.
Like, but there's no first. It's all or nothing. If we kill a silver, we've accomplished nothing.
But wait, we're fighting them at the same time anyway, so it doesn't matter if they're trying.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They can't really
Because-
sabotage in the middle of the fight,
There is a
right?
deadline. If you were planning on getting first, it would have to be a split the party scenario, where I want you guys to know, just a metagame out of game thing, that I am prepared to basically run 2 combats simultaneously on the same battle map.
Oh my god, can we please?
But I feel at the same time, the facts we've learned is I feel every lesson we've learned up until that time is there's a huge cost to splitting the party. So that should, if you're thinking about that, actually, wait, whatever your character would do, fuck that.
Is that out of character cost or like? Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean,
There
your
is
characters
danger.
don't know the rule, don't split the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've had experiences that
True.
might point us in that direction, right? Like, so it's something to at least be in the back of your mind, but do what your character would want to do in this scenario.
Yeah, like touch the rock.
It would be really rough. You should read the recap. It would be
Yeah.
really rough.
I loved your
Oh.
recap, by the way. Great job.
Oh, thanks, man.
Good one.
That's why I feel like Warren, even his fucking gung ho fucking we can do it, would be like, yeah, but we need 2 more people. Like 3 and 3 when one of them's a platinum, or 4 and 2 when one of them's a big hunt is really fucking dangerous.
No guts, no glory, bro. Also, if
No guts, no glory.
So hang on, run by me again. Like what the sheet of paper would do? Like make Binks a full displacer,
He didn't go into detail.
something
He
like
said
that.
it would speed up their growth.
I really don't think we need a full-fledged displacer beast in our party.
You know what it's going to do?
It's gonna be my battle cat.
You're gonna put it on top of your cat like a cape and say it's a second older.
Yep.
I'm actually
Doesn't matter.
Did you say you're going to name it Battle Cat?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna ride it like He-Man.
It's gonna
I'm
die
actually
the first
afraid
chance
of it
it
becoming a mount, because then it'll get a health bar, and then Steel will kill it.
For what it's worth, it does already
It-
have a health bar. It does
It
have
almost died last session.
That's true.
You've essentially given the DM a plot device to make us all feel really sad, but not ultimately affect the party.
It'll become worrying. We're like, oh god, we can't let them mount.
Oh man, things would have gotten real dark for Shay if the cat died last session.
Well, things were scary, but yeah.
So it's like I don't know. Like we'd have to. I agree. Maybe get more people, but at the same time, it's not our mission.
I don't think the rest of the. I mean, I don't know about the rest of the group, but like, definitely Sagar doesn't trust the rest of those 6 people now.
No. It would if we could potentially recruit 2 of them, it would have to be very specific people. Like the group would never go for Sawtooth. Or
I think
Polo.
the only person that probably has some trustworthiness is at this point is probably Karna.
Yeah, Karna seems pretty straight up.
Polonia seems pretty lost right now.
Yeah.
Lost. Lost is very good.
Lost is a wrong word.
Yeah.
Very mountainous, you might say.
Well, no,
I don't-
I think it's more like disconnected. I don't know what you want to call it. Like, look at Polonius's character sheet.
I kind of want to see Garrow.
Dude, I would want to just fire arrows at Garrow.
I know, right? I almost want to have him just for his constant shit talk.
And Zolt, I mean, we don't know what happened to him all this time, right?
Well, Warren knows a lot. He and Zolt have hung out and sparred on Epitaph for years.
But didn't Zolt grow up with Morgaine though?
Yeah, Zalt grew up with Morgaine, and he grew up in the Ka with the group with Garrow and Karna after we left. He's part of their group. Those are the three we know. Are Zalt, Garrow, and
Shireen's a
Karna.
complete mystery.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, yeah. Don't know about Sawtooth.
Honestly, out of the 6, I'd probably only want to get Harna.
Yeah. I don't know how good Zalt would be. I don't know how much of a combatant Zalt really is.
I mean, his name is half broken.
Yeah.
Probably a title.
Sure.
Didn't Zalt duel you, Warren?
Yeah. It's been a little while, but he is kind of like a monk.
He is kind of like a monk. He and Warren never really managed to like lay hands on one another because they both fought very similarly. Where both Warren and Zolt really like try to read their opponent and look for openings and feint each other out. And it got to the point where they were like a minute into this duel, and neither of them was able to sort of break through the sort of the mental defenses of the other. And it was kind of embarrassing where your typical duel in Epitaph is one guy just smashing someone else's head into a fucking table, and then the other one like getting up and ripping their shirt off and, you know, like pulling out a fucking magical staff from midair or whatever, where these two are basically just like circling one another playing fucking mind games. And then eventually Zalt got kind of embarrassed, and there were some kicks and punches and like, you know, blade attack thrown, but for the most part they moved so similarly that it wasn't gonna be the dramatic fight that anybody was expecting.
I think we should be going to the workshop after this, right?
Yeah, we're definitely heading. Plus,
We gotta
that's the
try.
best place.
We have to repair Morgaine. Like,
and in case there's some like weird secret info, we'd find it there for sure.
And definitely I want to commission you for something, Shay.
we'll talk about that.
You sound like you're going to charge me.
There's a line.
That's good. That's going to be like 300 gold.
There is a line.
Becomes an NPC shopkeep.
Because
Shay
every time we try,
Shay may take a little offense at this
sidetracked.
commission, but it's okay. It's necessary.
Offense? What the fuck? Oh, I can't wait to hear this in character.
I think we're almost at that point. Everybody back?
I think.
Yes,
I think we're missing
there's-
Cadius.
There is
I've been here.
Cadius.
Sorry, I forgot to open up my camera.
Your t-shirt you have on your camera?
My what?
I thought you covered it with like a t-shirt or something.
No. It's a little shutter.
Oh, okay.
I think we're all here.
Cool.
Oh, we were letting him use the.
Did
little
everybody
bit of party
figure
gold.
out? Did everybody figure out gold pieces? Personal gold is.
I don't know why I have so little gold. I've always thought that I've updated it when I'm told, but I don't. I maybe not.
I can tell you the days of which you got gold.
I don't recall Benji ever spending any. So if you could sort of quickly tally up what the grand total that was given to Benji would be, we'll just go ahead and give him that sum again one more time.
Yeah, he definitely never spent any.
So if you didn't add, so do you have 47 gold right now, Benjamin?
I have 42.
That's
Okay,
all right,
I'm not sure how you got that.
I'm sure he spent 5 at some point in
Yeah,
time.
like toss
Okay.
toss into an archer.
On some like
130 is the total you would have had. Minus the 5 would be 125.
Okay.
Cool.
I don't know how I missed that. I'm usually such a hoarder.
to expedite things.
Well, that happened July 15th. Were you here for that game?
I don't know.
I'm not going to worry about it too much,
Yeah, okay.
guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got her sorted out now. With this revelation sort of like reeling through Warren's mind, which is like, it would be possible to get in further and further deep, but at what cost and to what end? Meanwhile, Shay is attempting to haggle and like turns and goes, "Okay, cool. I want some of the party money. Gimme." And the general just beams and is like, "You've made a wonderful choice."
I mean, I'm pretty curious to see what happens.
What's the name of the item?
We're about to find out.
Is
Oh,
there a chance
in-
this
oh,
could
it's in-
kill the beast?
I,
Just checking to see if it's dangerous, Shay. I'm concerned for Binksy.
Cavius, we can see your very obvious smirk on your face.
I've no idea what you're talking about. I've got a wonderful poker face.
That's terrible.
let it be said that it is store policy that anyone may detect the magical properties of anything that I sell, and that simultaneously there are no refunds.
Oh, sorry. Do we not get to see the title card of the item itself before we buy it?
You do not, he says. I am not familiar with a title card, but no.
Do we not get to inspect said item?
He like goes to say no, and then he sees how high up it is, and he goes, "Well, I suppose I could perhaps allow Captain Erie to go retrieve it." And it is basically a large piece of parchment on which on one side has like a big dire wolf paw, basically, that looks like it has been very carefully set into it with ink. And on the other side appears to... Oops, sorry, Erie, I'm trying to grab the thing, not you. On the other side, it appears to have basically lots of complex script that sort of remind you of a magical ritual. It is very holy and very devoutly religious, and it is a devoutly religious, basically, blessing to an ancient pagan demigod known as the Shalm.
So, Erie, could you not make a copy of this?
No copying either. So no, it's again store policy.
The Xerox ritual.
It just like open up fucking Morgaine stuff and get the Xerox machine out.
Claire, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
There is a Xerox ritual. It does exist in the game.
It's true, there is. He almost took it.
That seems pretty good to me.
Or alternatively, if you would prefer to make the deal after you return, it will be here when you get back. Not a lot of folks around here looking to enlarge their beasties, if you know what I mean.
I'm good now.
All right, 310 gold pieces then, fine less.
You said 300. Didn't you?
I don't believe I did. It has always been 310.
No, you
No,
clearly
you
said
did say
300.
300 and...
Captain Grant, is that so?
Look, it's written down right here on the counter.
As he points to the nerds playing pretend channel.
Yeah, for sure. Captain Grant, is that so? I'm pretty sure I said 310.
You know, I walk forward and I hold out the warlord's. Sorry, I was distracted. Consider this collateral until I can give you real gold for my. And I do think it was 300.
He nods and he picks up the pawn and he says, with almost like a bit of relief, he goes, I'll accept this. 300 it is. Warren, does that mean you're giving up the game then? I'm glad to hear that.
What? No.
Wait, what?
No, I look appalled. I'd never give up. It's one of my favorite games. I just haven't had time to play it.
He goes, oh, well, that's quite all right then.
Did you want to play again?
I'll pass, he says, and he comes over and he sets the pawn on the countertop, and he says, all right, that's settled then. 300 gold pieces, and the writ of Obadiah is yours.
Sounds good. And Shay just kind of holds out her hand for like the handshake, and the vial is there as well.
As you hold out a hand, he puts his fingers like up towards his face and he wiggles his pudgy digits as like a ooh, but it's more like a gesture of like shock or concern, and does not shake your hand, and sort of just puffs out heavily, but bids you take the writ.
I take the writ then.
Hey.
E.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit.
No refunds.
It's been a pleasure doing business with you, he says. Now, if you don't mind, it is getting a little late in the evening.
That's amazing. You know,
Are you
it'll
not
be useful
happy with
someday.
your purchase, Shay? You look a little
Disturbed
Hmm.
or phased.
To be fair, our captain here has no magical talents. I nod.
It's quite true.
With a smile, I start to walk out of the shop.
Now, did you hear that you were coming, and did you pack us all a sacked lunch?
He looks at you, Erie, as like it's very clear you're joking. As you look at the 6 bag lunches on the counter, and he goes, "I'm afraid not. Food is unfortunately a bit in short supply here, even in Epitaph. If you're looking for grub, best place is still unfortunately going to be Wisps on the Water. But I appreciate your eye for keen detail, Captain Erie. Ain't nothing getting past you," he says, and kind of a look at the butterfly collection on his wall, again a little awkward and embarrassed as you guys depart.
I will roll up the writ and put it in the bag of holding for now.
fine print. If you roll it up, the page is ruined.
True.
Need to find religion.
Do I have to?
Wow.
Raven Queen it is.
Just like
Ooh.
that.
Do I need to do the kill declare thing?
I mean, yeah, if you wanted to now, really quickly, like, so that's the gist. You could do it.
Wait,
certainly, like this evening or tomorrow morning would be fine as well.
Warren, you did your debt thing with that puzzle piece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did we take the sword?
you didn't. The sword is 2,200 gold pieces, and even though there was the conversation about like it'll be good on credit, and he was considering it, groups like Now is bail.
Sorry, Morgaine.
That's fine.
I mean, how can we?
That's
pay-
a lot of money to spend on more games.
I mean, we weren't spending it. We were just borrowing it.
I can. Yeah, I'll do it. As long as that's the DM being like, hey, it won't be taken if you wait till morning, then I'll totally.
Yes, that is absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll wait. Let's go to Wisps.
Getting Discord PMs.
I meant to put that in general for what I
That's
thought that
okay.
sword was actually. That's what I had in my head when I saw that sword.
No, I just like the joke, like Abacus Blade, because it's a sword you can count on. I think that's real fucking dumb
my God.
clever. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna do that because I guess I'm a dad now.
Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Make it stop.
Mm-hmm. Destination is Wisps in the Water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, for those of you who have never been to Wisps, the only way to access it is by traveling down to sort of the west coast, where outside of the city, you would then have to basically take like a little ferry from basically the building that you are seeing here now, where there's all sorts of weird folk hanging about. And Wisps in the Water is basically this floating pleasure barge out on the eastern side of the island. I think I've changed directions there once. My apologies. It's on the eastern side of the island, where if you were talking about places that would be at risk for a Kraken attack, it's very clearly this, because it's a good mile off the shore. And this tiny little ferry is is operated by what you think at first might be some kind of bullywug, much like when you first met Vale, but he's larger and bloated and more like a toad than a much smaller frog. And using like this one big oar paddle, just very slowly takes you across the water, doesn't make much conversation other than to dip a long amphibious finger into the water, bring it to his lips, and then go, trouble a coming. And without another word, continues to sort of just take you towards what is this very brightly lit? Actually, it's not brightly lit because it's dark. My apologies. This is not the right picture either. I'm so sorry, guys. It is this very brightly lit, again, just sort of a paradise barge out on the open ocean. And inside is probably, I would say, 30, 40 people. It is wild with excitement, where there is a live band that is in the middle of playing. There is, I'm just trying to grab music. I'm so sorry here, guys.
On the barge, correct?
On the barge itself, yeah. When you sort of climb in, it's this multi-story building where it's very clear that all the hostesses here, for example, all double as like either courtesans or like a companionship for a night. And you are surrounded instantaneously by people that you can only describe as PCs. Because looking around you is sort of the strangest assortment of people from every possible walk of life that you can begin to imagine. There is goblins, and you're pretty sure that some of the dancing naked Eladrin that you saw when you first came into the city are here as well. There's a woman who has Medusa serpentine-like features. You're pretty sure that the gentleman who is standing directly in front of you with a pink beard has some kind of Ifrit blood. He looks like he might be from the Ka, but again, people have just drastically changed their lifestyle so much that this place it's certainly its own thing. And while a adventurer grabs one of the goblin servers by the tush and leads her upstairs to where there are presumably some rooms, everything here, and there's people who are like at the bar basically like getting meals served to them, where at the very, very end they are shooting back what looks like this golden liquid, and then like sticking out their tongues. They're also like now kind of solid gold and glittery in color, and peering into their glasses to sort of read what must be a message or something at the bottom of the glass. The entire area that you're in right now is very reminiscent of like the Jessica Rabbit traditional lounge singing, where all eyes immediately are on the woman who is at the stage. There is a grand piano with a band that is playing, and the woman that is singing defies description. Some of you have met her before. Some of you who have heard basically Shay providing descriptions of who this person is, but to see her is see her firsthand is difficult. She is very clearly not from this plane of existence. She is very clearly not an Eladrin. You cannot tell what her lineage is. She strikes you as almost divine, where there are a pair of these gorgeous feathered turquoise, I guess is not the right word, but violet wings basically that protrude from her back. And she wears very, very simple, very revealing attire. And her skin is like this alabaster porcelain. Her lips are just neon pink. And she just strikes you as this fragile and beautiful specter almost. She doesn't seem like she's entirely real. And you know that this is the proprietor of Wisps on the Water, the sort of the hub of the world, as it were, and this is the woman known as Fable. Is there any response?
Sorry, I'm reading.
Everyone started reading her character.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should learn about that.
This is where your lack of video, hurts you because we're
The
all,
amount of out of his element Morgaine is at this point cannot be understated.
Yeah. Absolutely. As you walk in, there is like a halfling who makes his way up to the lot of you immediately and walks straight up to you, Saigar, and goes, "You and I need to talk."
Does it have to be more private, or can we in public?
Here's fine. I'll be brief. I've been hired to kill you. For 20 gold pieces, you will never see me again, and I'll tell my employer the job's been done. Simple as that.
I essentially scoff and say, "That's it? That's all I'm worth?"
You do, Morgaine.
So we all hear this?
Oh, yeah.
If I can reach an arm out to like grab him by the scruff and lift him, and he's a halfling, right? Like lift him to eye level.
Yeah, absolutely. Right up.
What did you say?
Well, while this is happening, I'm like, it's almost like a, I would say like a look of amusement on my face. Like, only 20 gold. Surely your employer can do much, much better than that.
Your employer, he said, there's like a note of panic rising in his voice now, is giving me 1,000 gold to kill you. I'm giving you the chance to walk out of here without any other assassins being sent out of you for only 20. This is a one-time offer.
Insight check.
Absolutely.
Thank God, we got so many people with wisdom. I was hoping someone would do it.
I actually, I looked at your passive insights before I did this. Everyone is not entirely sure about this.
Even with 19.
Even 19, he rolled higher.
Rolled
Even
exactly the fastest.
So much.
I mean, I'm going to try rolling it all because he's directly
Of course.
addressing me.
Of course.
Warren is convinced there are
Perception.
assassins.
He's got like his sword out. He's like, yeah, let's go.
Is this perception or insight?
This is insight.
Jesus.
I'll wait for everyone to roll
No,
first.
there it is.
Can I look for the assassins?
Yeah, absolutely. Perception.
Well, I mean, my first
Smart.
question is going to be: are you alone, or does this employer of yours have multiple marks out of my head?
Really quickly, before you ask any more questions or before I give insight and perception check results to people, Morgaine, do you do anything?
I say one word, or
Okay.
not one word, one sentence. I'll be like, "Do you regret threatening my friend?"
He says, "It's not a threat. This is..."
I am going to walk him outside and try to throw him in the water.
Okay, yeah. It's very, very easy. You walk him out and you toss him. And there is a moment where, like, first of all, Saigar, you know he's bluffing. He doesn't have any weapons on him. He's not employed. He's not an assassin. Morgaine, you fucking just toss him in the water, and his veneer breaks at this exact moment where he begins to splash around and he goes, "Come on, man, there's sharks in here!"
Do you regret threatening my friend?
It wasn't a threat, okay? It was a joke. Come on, man. He throws doggy
you're
paddling over
sorry.
the shore. I'm
Say you're
completely sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna reach my hand out for him.
Yeah,
Well,
you
game-
fucking grab and hoist him and bring him back up, and he's like twice as heavy wet.
You are my favorite Warforged.
He
Pretty good.
fucking like drenched or just drenched with water, like sulks over to a fucking nearby table and sits down.
And I'll be here all night. I don't want to see you doing that to anyone else.
Warren, could you put a mark on him?
I
Oh, I guess he's back.
not really. I can sort of follow his movements, but not very far.
As I mentioned, I have more to share with you later. But,
Thanks.
I may have done some things in this town in my past, so I think, joke or not, we should be on our guard.
Oh, I mean that's okay. It's fine. It's the kind of town where people get attacked all the time. But good
We
to
should be
know.
alright.
Yeah, this is a good place. It's even got a variety of your preferred level of entertainment. All through the scales.
What do you do here?
The person behind the bar, and I say person because it's hard to tell gender despite the fact that basically all they are wearing is like a very tight, bright pink bra and a pair of underwear and like a big floppy hat and like a leather jacket, gestures you all over with just a pinky finger.
Hey, how's it going?
And you know this to be F Sharp, who is sort of like the proprietor person here, and like Bing jumps on the counter immediately, and F Sharp just coos like, "Oh my god, you are adorable!" And I don't mean you, Shay, although Fable's gonna be thrilled to know that you're here. Have you told her yet?
No, we just got here.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Well, at this moment, Shay would just kind of like grab a drink from the bar. Or two.
She the person behind the bar immediately just starts pouring a couple of glasses out and goes, what can I get you? Do you want to get the Shirley Temple of Elemental Evil? Scumble? Glintmouth? What's your poison today? Pixie Piss? Skip and Go Naked?
Just the usual.
She grabs one of the golden bottles and then pours out what you are going to later find out is called Glintmouth, and it's like a champagne glass full of this glittering golden liquid.
Pixie Piss, the callback.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Arjun.
No problem, baby.
Oh my god.
That was an obscure one.
18 intelligence.
Hell yeah, Glintmouth. She goes, "Are you guys hungry? We've got flotsam chicken on tonight, which comes with a side of roasted leeches, Titan clam, gumbo." And as you ponder this, there's the sound of somebody reaching orgasm from on the second floor, and it causes the floorboards to shake enough that some dust falls from the rafters into your drink.
Oh. I put my hand like over the glass.
Are they okay?
Yeah, has been.
Yeah, should anyone check on them?
No, they're all. It's nothing unusual.
Definitely okay. To answer your question, Morgan, you can eat, you can drink, you can listen to music, you can recruit companions. Even though I don't think that would work for you.
Oh, music.
I give a slow nod.
The woman behind the bar goes, "Well, no, companionship doesn't really, it's not always physical. You know, I've got a few people here. We could talk to Patience or Timothy Marcy, and they sort of specialize in Warforged. It's all about tenderness, love. Or if you prefer a bit of a stronger hand, I think Darl the Beast is free."
What would I do with Darl the Beast?
Oh,
Anything
Yeah,
you
so
wanted.
Whatever you.
Like I didn't. This doesn't look like a good place to duel. I guess.
Actually, this looks like precisely the place where you're supposed to duel.
You're using air quotes, and I don't know why.
I bet there are sword fights.
You might
here
even
all
call
the
it a
time.
form of wrestling.
Why was that what they were doing upstairs?
Yeah.
Yes, bedroom wrestling.
It was odd noises for wrestling.
There are lots of sports in Epitaph, not just monster hunting.
It's true.
I you know that moment where everyone's talking and you're talking and you think they're talking about something else? I feel that's happening right now. And I'm gonna walk away because I'm getting very uncomfortable.
Okay.
And about like 2 steps away, he's gonna turn back. Don't get any trouble. No trouble. I'm gonna
It'd be
listen
hard to
piano
get in
music.
trouble in here.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like there's any Foundling stones here for Warren to touch.
it's true.
Shay
No.
kind of does like the air point, like, you right.
You guys even know why I touched it? Not that it makes it better. That sounds like a no.
It might be better to talk about this over a few drinks.
Yeah, maybe we can get like a private room or something. Is Fable giving a performance right now, like on the piano? Or...
Yeah, she is in the middle. She's actually singing. She is accompanying the band that's playing kind of like slow jazz, and she is sort of singing along with them, but has not really opened her eyes or made eye contact with the crowd or anything yet. Certainly hasn't noticed you.
Shay will sneak up with the 2 glasses and just kind of like lean against the piano.
Her eyes open immediately, and there's that immediate look of like, I'm going to throw you off the fucking stage, until she recognizes you, at which point, like, the music stops instantly. And
Thank God.
she just looks at you, and you can see that on her wrist, on her right wrist, the letter S has been tattooed. And just a hand goes to her mouth, and she just, with the grace that the general could never possess, she just like leaps up off of the piano stage, leaps up over the top of the thing, and just slams down the grand piano and rushes over to you, Shay, and just grabs like both hands around your neck and just spins you around and just grabs you in like this long, locked, deeply passionate kiss, while the audience is like equal parts disappointed and really into this.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Shay closes her eyes and reciprocates.
And after like a good long 30 seconds, which seems like an hour for your companions who are like, all right, cool, this is going to be my dreams tonight. There's and like her
Or
wings wrap
nightmares.
around you and like hand on your ass and just pulls you in close. She eventually like breaks away for a split second, gasps for breath for a moment, and goes, "Oh my God, Shay, where have you been?" And then dives back in before you can respond.
Do you think based on the wings that she doesn't need to breathe?
And then a moment later, pulls and goes, "Where are my manners? I'm so sorry." And she turns out to the crowd. Show's going to continue. I'm taking a break. It'll just be the band for a little while. And then she leads you by the hand off the stage. And the band, like the head singer, kind of like rushes over and speaking into basically this amplification stone goes, "All right, this is Astral Levine. You're listening to Good Harlot, and here we go."
God, get me out of here. Kyvius, teleport
Right up front.
away.
Morgan thinks he's at a concert. Look at him.
He's just standing there. No, he's the guy who has like no idea where he is, and he's just kind of like awkwardly like pacing.
Morgane's always wanted to be a skater boy.
In fact, Morgane is at the front with his eyes closed.
Fair.
Earmuffs.
The opposite.
And yeah. And basically there's just like a bunch of people who are like kicked away from the table that they were at. A couple of ne'er-do-wells. And immediately like Fable rather brings you all to a sort of a corner table. And goes, "Everything's on the house. What do you need? Whatever you would like. Oh my God, you are so precious." And just immediately rushes over and just begins to scratch Binks' head, who like bats angrily at her feathered wings.
Fucking cat.
I'll be good, Binks.
Wow.
At this point, like Shay would be like looking over the like sofa and be like, "You guys want to sit down? Get like a drink or something?"
Sure. I just wasn't sure, private moment. It's been a bit.
It has been too long, she says.
It's been a story.
So who are your friends?
Well, you know Warren. Neri. Does she know Saigar?
Doesn't know Saigar.
Alicia's Saigar. The hooded one is Clivius, and the one over there lollygagging about the stage is Morgaine.
It is a pleasure to meet all of you, she says, and I want everybody to go ahead and just roll for me a charisma check. Normally it would be an attack against your will save. I want it to be a little bit more in your favor. It's your will defense, rather.
Charisma, we
Yeah.
put on that last column.
Correct. Yep, it's difficulty 14 charisma.
Morgaine does not understand her advances.
That is true. Who am I missing?
Well, I'm not
Warren.
even looking at her. I'm listening to music.
Yeah. All of you can
Wow.
sort of feel that there is some kind of enchantment that comes off her, but it's very clearly only Shay who is just like totally in love smitten. And also, that was a very close call for all of you, and you don't know.
Is she a succubus?
It's hard to tell what she is.
Could I do a dungeoneering check to
You
check that?
sure could. Arcana would also work, but dungeoneering is definitely preferable. Holy
That's high.
shit.
That's really high.
I'm going to
Sweet
pop you into a
Jesus.
private channel real fast here.
Alright.
2 seconds.
And this is where Saigar shoots someone.
Was that that sword that we were eyeballing for? Just side question for Morgaine. Was that a great sword? Was that a two-handed sword or was it a one-handed sword?
It was sold. So the shopkeeper doesn't know what the magic items are. Is a good premise to understand.
Okay.
He is selling it as a two-handed sword,
But you would use
but
it as a
he
one-handed.
sort of he alluded to that. That's not certain.
Okay. Do you have a
Yeah,
shield
he-
or use shields?
Yeah, I have a ridiculously good shield.
Yeah, he
What's
got the Phoenix shield from
So
whenever
Phoenix
we,
Shield is a heavy
Right,
shield,
right.
except for if I die, it brings me back.
Right.
And then blows up anyone around me. Friend or foe. Like, everyone would be dead. Because it's like, so the property of it is, this one. Okay, so I would, if when I've made 2 failed healing checks, or someone tried to fucking just murder me and not quite get it, I stand up, and for each surge I have at that point in time, I do 1d10 to everyone around me, and then I come back up with 1 health. But if I
Jesus.
crit on the attacks, I come up with all of my health, and then the shield's destroyed.
Okay.
I like that me and you have the when we get fucked up shields.
Right?
It's pretty cool. I don't feel like Steel did that on purpose, but the thematic thread is very...
The armor is still the most broken thing I think I've seen in this game so far.
Yeah.
Quite.
I'm just reviewing my item list now that we're level 4 of things we could make.
Hello, welcome back.
Thanks. There's a bottle of Glintmouth, this golden liquid that is passed around, and again, like 6 glasses poured in these beautiful champagne glasses, and she just sips hers. But Shay, you of course know that it is like culturally appropriate to like give it a swirl and then chug it really quickly to sort of look at the fortune at the bottom.
Oh god, yeah. Down the hatch.
It burns the whole way going down. You feel it like hitting you immediately. And as you peer into the bottom of your glass, you can see that the gold dust there, and it is just regular gold dust. There appears to be no enchantment to it, but it has formed in beautiful gold script letters. It's a little bit hard to read because it's sort of around the curved base of this champagne glass, basically. And it says, "Patience is a luxury of the dying."
Huh.
Just tell me everything. What's been going on? What brings you back here? Are you staying?
Just for the moment. So you remember that letter or that bonds mage that came to that delivered like a message to me when I had to...
What was his name? She snaps her finger. She goes, "Was that the one that had the bloody chest?"
I think so?
I don't remember what that was all about.
You met a different bonds mage.
Oh wait, no, it was, I think. This is out of character.
It's not an out of character response that I'm going to provide.
I think so. Anyway, we summoned me to a funeral for a friend that turned out not to be a funeral, but like a...
She put her hand to her mouth. She goes, was it old man?"
No. Actually, he's doing all right. Actually, I saw him in
Thank goodness.
in High Hell, just a little while ago. At this point, just to kind of like expedite things slightly,
Yeah.
I would go over everything that's happened.
Yeah, she listens in rapt detail, other than the fact that, like, Binks gives her a hard time throughout, will, like, creep around the couch, try to, like, pounce on her wings from behind the couch, and is very clearly in full-on predatorial hunter mode towards this winged woman. And over the course of about 20 minutes, you explain everything, and she listens in rapt detail and attention, even though it's very clear that pretty much everybody who is here, even though they're still listening to Good Harlot, are still a lot of them have one eye on Fable. And the conversation is interrupted a couple of times with the sounds of just like beds banging and very porn version screams like, "Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, right there, yes, that's what I want," from upstairs, and it's really a little over the top. And when the story is completed, she goes, that's so much, but you need to stay here, Shay. You can't go gallivanting off to the ends of the earth for people you don't care about. Come on.
I mean, I do care about them, though. They're... like, these guys here, they're my friends.
Well, give me opportunity to change your mind. And then she looks to you, Warren, and goes, "By the way, I love your head jewelry."
Oh, thanks, it's new. You wouldn't believe how hard it was to get it set up like that.
Trust me, she says, and she, like, gestures down to her bodice. I understand that feeling completely.
I take it back. I can't imagine your struggle.
So,
I believe we stopped by here because we may have had some questions. Shay, Warren?
Sure, if I can help, just say the word.
Shay's gonna just look over to Warren.
Well, sort of like... I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Out of character, like what do we have to ask?
Well, okay, so I think we originally came here because we were looking for potential alternative avenues until you thought of this platinum monster that we could go chase.
Creature,
so I think we kind of wandered over here having already gotten the answers we were looking for? Or was there other information we were pursuing?
I have no idea. I don't know, man.
Because that sort of was the case.
Yeah, I guess I'm asking because it was Shay and Warren mentioned it, so or I think that's where we were. I think we kind of messed up.
So here's a question. As far as most everybody knows here on this island, only certain boats, or no boats really, are willing to leave other than one. And We were wondering if you maybe knew somebody else with, I don't know, who was crazy and suicidal enough to try and get past what's out there on those oceans.
She says, it's been a week since I've seen Captain Kestrel, but they certainly fit the bill. Beyond that, I don't know of any ships. I don't know of any ships that are leaving. You said the one. I think your best bet would be to go talk to them, because right now the island's on complete and total lockdown. No ships coming in, no ships leaving. At least not until the Kraken's taken care of, which I imagine, she says, looking at both you and Eerie, with Jam Dunk back, that'll be done in no time.
That's what we're hoping for.
So there you go. As soon as the ocean threat's taken care of, we've got full sea traffic again. It'll pick up business here, I'll tell you that.
I suppose only one other thing I'd be curious about. Have there been many, like, more car than usual sort of coming through these parts lately?
She pauses and goes, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, less, probably? I mean, you know, the orc that used to spend, months here at a time, and his tag-along companion that we had to throw out of here. But beyond those two, the cop pretty much stopped coming here about, I would say, 7-8 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's that one ship in the harbor that belongs to them, but beyond that, I don't get the impression they're staying long.
I nod a bit. And try to think of other things. This is an NPC with tons of connections. It would be, if there was something we wanted to know. Even like weird things not necessarily related to the monster killing.
There's a moment where, like, one of the purple lanterns that is filled with kind of a shimmering violet flame from one of the counters drops over, and immediately, like, a dozen people grab weapons and, like, throw themselves into a battle position, and one of them just, like, quickly under their breath utters a spell, and just bubbles appear over the course of the flame and just douse it immediately, and people start settling back and putting weapons away, and it's very clear that this is a place where everybody's a little bit, not necessarily on edge, but prepared for trouble. While you're thinking about this, people, like, there is a couple of meals passed around where you was referred to as flotsam chicken, but it apparently is just a big scorpion tail that's stuffed with some kind of unrecognizable goulash, and a second dish that you don't realize is the roasted leeches until you put it into your mouth. This Saigar, it's all terrible.
This is all slop.
This is all familiar food to Shay, so she's just kind of snacking.
Fable sort of shoots a sidelong look your way, Saigar, and goes, if you are offering, I will fire my kitchen staff and hire you on the spot. But I get the feeling you're not. So maybe just grateful.
I'm not sure if I said it loud enough for her to hear, though.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's good to know. Well, then I guess none of those things happened.
What do you know of the monster that has taken up residence in the expanse beyond, preventing ships? Have you heard anything, or have you heard of its ilk before?
It's the only ageless we've ever seen that seem to actually grow. I mean, we know that they grow, right? But we've never seen one in multiple different stages of growth. Whatever's causing the ageless to become this immense size, this is one that's been affected multiple times.
Fascinating, and we have no idea why.
He says, honey, this is not a place for scientists, usually.
That's understandable. The teams that are out currently vying for the glory of facing such a beast, can you tell us anything about them?
She pauses and thinks, honestly, none of them hold a candle to Jam Dunk. Collateral crew are more likely to get some of their own members killed than anything else. I know the Seekers of the Sphinx could be easily bribed to dropping the hunt completely. Beyond that, Black in the Sky's only advantage is to go after marks that are accessible, where they can use their superior range to take it down. They can't work in sort of melee range. What do you want to know? They're all very capable.
Sounds like, yes. I suppose we can forget that. I guess it wouldn't matter as much if our plans came to fruition. I guess most importantly, and what I'm delaying right now in asking is, do you have any embarrassing stories of Warren and Erie, of their time spent here years ago?
I don't think
Silence,
that
Warren! Silence! I'm asking a question.
You can actually see Shay at this point just kind of like giggling.
Jeez.
Just looking at Warren. Yeah, Warren, what could you possibly have to be embarrassed about here?
I didn't always used to be so comfortable in the sort of environment I'm in here. That comfort's gotten me in trouble.
So, I mean, at this point, like, Shay's kind of, like, clearly a little bit, feeling the drain. So...
There was that time, she says, that one of the girls here developed a little crush on Warren and decided the best way to show her affection to him would be to get him a full-sized, life-sized teddy bear, which our boy Warren here, in the heat of the moment, thought was a real creature and destroyed it with his magical arm. And she cried.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Warren, you heartbreaker, you.
There was stuffing everywhere.
And how about you, Erie? And she sort of looks and again, like a little smile breaks over her face. Are you still scared of the rain?
Scared of the rain?
Kid didn't hear you.
He's gonna kind of slink down, look away.
What's to be scared of the rain?
It's all wet and scary and everything. Nothing good ever happens with the rain.
It's true, we haven't.
Are you like a gremlin? What happens if you get hit by rain?
That's only if he's eaten after midnight.
No, it's after sundown, not midnight.
My bad.
I hadn't thought about it. It hasn't rained since we've started traveling together.
Look, I just don't like the rain. It's bad experiences back home.
Good to know.
It's fine. Let's see.
I figured in that case you'd be afraid of Saigar because he's always making it rain.
Jesus.
Ka-ching.
Thank you.
I look at Warren with just like 4 out of 10.
Can't you see why the girls had crushes on me now? It's probably that and having one arm.
Or having a... Never mind. Nope, not going there. Never mind. Alright, down to business. Is there anything else that we need to know here, or do we need to get hunting?
Hey, Fable, there's a quick question I've got. We came across an Ageless outside of Epitaph. Might you know how that could happen?
Have there been any other people reporting that, seeing things like that?
Imagine that Warren or somebody like corrects you and Ageless outside of High Helm, which she again like purses her perfect lips for a split second and goes, "No, I've never heard of anything like that. Although, Warren, you remember Twirl when you were here, right? Or was he before your time?"
I didn't get to meet him here. I know about it.
She nods and says, "There was a scholar who was here for years before he just vanished out of the blue one day. And he had this theory, right, that the Aegis weren't coming from Epitaph or the island, but rather whatever was affecting it was just something that happened in this area temporarily. Maybe whatever is causing them is somewhere else out in the world now. But I mean, that wouldn't make sense with how many are here now. We've never seen an Aegis this big. It's maybe it's a phenomenon that's multiplying or growing somehow. I don't know.
I don't know, but if there's one thing I'd trust is I would remember that twirl guy, because I found some of his studies when I was 10, a chessboard left out in an old museum. All of you guys were there, and he practically predicted a pretty large course of the current war in his little game. Smart fella. Wish I could have met him.
She says, well, it's getting late. Shay, obviously you're staying here with me. That is not a request. I will provide some companionship for how many of you, and points to Saigar and Kyvius, and then not really sure about Morgaine.
I got things I gotta do today.
We were actually planning on going over to the workshop. Do you still have the keys?
I can get them. Just a second.
I was planning on doing a little bit of work on Morgaine, just kind of.
You can work tomorrow. He said there's like a note of sternness. Tonight you're staying with me. And then she goes and like saunters off the stairs and comes back down later with like a brass key, which she holds out and she gives to you, Kyvius, and says, that is for you. Shay will tell you where it is. Shay, you are staying here. And that's the last we're discussing.
I get the impression you don't want to piss her off.
Well, I failed my charisma, so there's no. All right.
I'm sure it'll be terribly painful for you.
Yeah, I sound a little more disappointed, Shay. The rest of you, she says, and again purses her lips a little bit, I will see you all in the morning, preferably not before noon. Take care of what you need to take care of, and then you can come get Shay when she's able to walk.
When she's able to walk.
Right.
I didn't think I could lose getting used to this talk, but apparently a couple weeks away is really... never mind. It's not important.
We're more than a couple of weeks, is it not?
I don't know. Maybe.
Time seems to have flown in a very weird direction.
Yeah. It's fine.
In this workshop, is there places we could sleep?
Not really. Shay mostly slept here. And again, I can certainly make room.
Yeah, we can go to the workshop in the morning. It is getting late, right? Like.
Oh yeah, it's like midnight.
I still think we should go to the workshop.
Well, I mean, if Shay's not there to fix... I mean, what are we going to do in the workshop?
Fuck some shit up. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what we would do there.
What are you gonna do? Wreck my workshop?
Yeah, I mean, if you have Residium and shit, I suppose I could try crafting because I have the or breaking stuff down. But other than that, we're not gonna be able to fix Morgaine.
Very true.
I am not gonna try that.
Morgaine, I tried to fix you, but now you're a toaster. I'm sorry.
If we break Morgaine down, how much Residium do we get?
Oh, he's worth a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do the sending spell like 50 times.
It should all work out. We got time to in the morning we can declare the kill, figure out if there's somebody we need to bribe to help us.
I should be able to fix him in the morning too. Like, honestly, I've had a little bit to drink here. It's probably not a good idea.
Right.
Besides, Warren, you have a very disarming personality.
I'm sorry. Saiga, for what I've done. Please don't.
I figure tomorrow we'll go to the workshop and maybe we can visit a secondhand store for Warren.
Can
Oh,
we
yeah, we do
go
need to
to
get
the
sold,
part
too.
where we get rooms?
Can we fade the black already?
Absolutely. Before that happens, though,
God.
Warren, there is like a couple that are just fucking super making out next to you. There is a dark-skinned Eladrin woman, and there is a very handsome, very rich-looking, blonde, pompous fuckbag. That between the two of them, it's getting a little too public. Like, same thing with, legs wrapped around his waist and things like that. Every so often you hear him go like, oh my word.
Oh, God.
And you are, this conversation is interrupted very, very briefly. Quick, what's a good elf woman name? You hear a voice from outside shout, Lady Emil! And her, she just pushes him back immediately. And she goes, oh my god, it's my husband. And the man goes, what? You're married? And she goes, well, fiancé, technically. And she just looks around frantically, and there's the sound of heavy steps coming up the front gate as this voice shouts again. And she looks at you and the table with everybody there, Warren and Erie and Shay and Morgaine, and goes, please, tell him I was with one of you. Don't. I'll give you anything you want. She reaches into a coin purse and just pulls out a couple of 100 gold pieces. Please, just tell my fiance that I was with you. He's very jealous. He's very dangerous.
I look over to Kyvius.
I mean, we need the money.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, don't have me doing it. You've seen me lie.
All right. Oh my god, this is not my usual
Kyvius,
instruction, but hey,
you're probably our best bluffer here.
Here we are. Into my arms, fair lady. Oh, how torrid and wonderful our affair has been.
Yeah, she jumps into your arms. Absolutely, she's much smaller than you. And this is just as the doors open up, and the person who I'm going to grab a fucking card here real quick. Thanks for your patience, guys.
I am burying my head in the cushions and laughing into them.
Morgaine's still having a good time. The music is great here.
The man who jumps in is bespoke from his head to his toe.
Oh, God.
He is wearing a beautiful tricorn blue hat with a feather. His outfit is golds and blues, and he has a rapier that is extended and drawn. He is of fairly dark skin and is rocking a wicked afro.
No, not Silvestro.
Oh,
And he, let me grab his token real fast, if I can. And as he steps in this commanding, I am not to be trifled with voice, immediately catches sight of this woman wrapped around you, Kyvius. Oops, are those all? Oh, never mind, disregard, sorry. There's too many things on the GM layer. Catches her with her arms wrapped around your neck, and she grabs you close, Kyvius, and goes, Silvestro, no, please, he forced me. And he goes, poppycock! The music goes dead immediately as this swashbuckler walks over to you and goes, is this true, sir?
You didn't say forced was part of the plan.
I fly over across the cushions.
Sir, I may have been aggressive in my affections, but it is only because I was entirely overwhelmed by the beauty of this perfect subject.
Why did the music stop?
Morgaine finally opens his eyes and sees what's happening.
His face goes just crimson dark red, and he says, this woman, sir, is my fiancée and one true love, and you have besmirched not only her honor, but mine. I challenge you to a duel.
What?
Morgaine's eyes open. What just happened?
Can I?
Lauren,
Can
what's the problem? Lauren?
I hand Kyvius a weight glove.
I
It's like
step,
pressed into your hand, Kyvius.
I step
Why
in
in the
front
God's name is this
of
useful?
of Kyvius and her and say, oh my god, hold on, sorry, I can't believe we saw him here. Salvestro!
Warren, this is not between you and I today.
No,
This day.
but you see, for it was but a ploy. I had known that she was dear, and I orchestrated this in
Sharad.
hopes to face you again.
Is this true, he says to you, Kyvius? Are you little more than a pawn, a buffoon, a jerk, a moron, a nitwit, a stooge, an imbecile, an ignoramus, a schmeal in his ploy?
Every insult, I want to get like a little bit closer to his back until he's like, he might feel the metal behind him if he tries to move his arm back.
That absolutely happens. The elbow goes back a little bit and clangs into your chest. And he, again, takes a whirling, half prance step back away from both of you.
Okay, so time out for just 1 second. Someone remind me who this guy is.
You don't have
None
no
of you
idea.
know.
Oh, I have no. Oh, because it says it was
Yeah.
found in the stocks in Iron Gas. So I was like, did I
Oh,
forget
shit.
something? Is
No,
it
that's
relation-
okay.
Okay. So
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. Okay.
We didn't.
You can see clear recognition in Warren's eyes. though.
Okay.
That's my fault.
And seeing Warren step forward and desperately try and bluff, I would say, no buffoon, sir, but a master deceiver. Yes, 'tis was my plan all along. and look at that, how it had brought you to us. And I'm just looking at Warren, see it like looking for a signal. Keep going, or not, you know.
Is this one of those like stage shows or something? I don't know what's going on here.
Silence your hardware, he says to you. This is between myself and the cheat, the grifter, the swindler, the con man.
Do you
Blade.
talk normal?
Dawn, sir. Blades at dawn.
Wait, is he pointing to me? Or
Talking
is he
to you. Yeah.
Okay. Nay, sir.
Because as I understand it, you sort of denied Warren's backup. Yeah?
No, I did not.
No,
What I
okay.
said. No, what I
Forwarded
said.
my back.
I denied being a buffoon, and instead
Oh, I
proclaimed
see.
myself a master deceiver in that he fell for Warren's and my plan.
Kyvius, use the glove I gave you and slap him across
But-
the face.
You baited him into this trap. One could say you're a master baiter.
Of
If
course.
that is the way of things, then there should be only one way to settle this dispute. 2-on-1, he says. A duel against me, indeed. But a chance to besmirch my honor like this from both of you is a slight I cannot stand. An offense, a rejection, a brush off, a discourtesy that will see.
I love him. I don't want to hurt him.
Upon one condition, though. For it has been long since you have shamed me, and I intend to win back my shame.
My honor.
Your
sorry.
shame, your humiliation, your remorse, your scandal,
Yes.
your discomposure.
For if we best you, you must join us for a day in hunting.
Very good.
Is that all? He says. Very well. But if I win, I shutter your weapon and throw it into the sea where it belongs.
And nod. As has been and have been with the previous 6 swords of mine you've broken.
Indeed.
He's beat you 6 times. What'd you
This
say?
isn't to the death, right?
least.
Indeed.
This is like a friendly duel type of thing.
To first blood, he says. But
Oh,
your
okay.
weapon shall be forfeit, he says, and fucking Warren is like, yeah, okay.
Like, you can have mine if you want a weapon.
Wait. And the rules of this duel. Proclaim
first
them now,
blood.
sir. To first blood, yes, but the weapons of our own choosing.
Indeed.
Oh, thank God. No one's giving me a goddamn sword.
And when we are finished, that sword of yours, Warren Grant, shall be sundered, and likewise, that sapphire staff of yours.
Whoa,
You
whoa, whoa,
imposter.
whoa, 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 whoa!
And with this proclamation, he fucking turns and stalks off with his fiancée in tow, who is
Bye.
now all over him. Like, oh my god, you saved me.
How much gold did she drop at my feet? Because I'm gonna count that bitch.
700 gold pieces in a purse was given to...
Oh!
He's walking off with his toe.
That's your personal satch, Cavius, unless you want to throw
I
a party.
just updated my gold immediately when he said it. Don't worry, I'm not losing.
Perfect.
I'm never
He's
losing
like, "Fuck
track
the
of this
party
shit
gold."
again.
That could be some good personal fun money, but fucking what do I know?
I updated my
Oh,
personal.
not personal, sorry, group fund money, rather.
Yeah. Oh no, it is. Well, hey, that's hey. I want to.
The way I'm running it is
I
if
think
you
we
earn
actually-
it through an action, you get to keep it unless you want to donate it to the group.
It'll probably get donated in the form of magical items.
I turn to Kyrie and say, "No, that's pretty good. I think that went well."
Okay, wait, no, okay. There's a couple of things that we have to discuss right now.
That's I don't know what you could be talking about.
He bested you 6 times.
Well, I've been dueling him since I got here, and I might have stolen a lot of his style. He
Have
might
you
been my
ever
first-
bested him?
Like,
Mention it. It's very important to me to mention this. In addition to being like a very glamorous person, when he strolled in, his like top 2 buttons were undone, and there was just a forest of black hair pouring out. Very important for me to mention that.
Oh my god.
all I wanna
Like,
say.
okay, it's not fair. So, yeah, maybe once or twice. He always fucking finds some sort of like cheaty way to like throw dirt in my eyes, or get me when I'm not looking, or trick me into thinking there's an ageless attacking, or
Okay, so
You think
you
he'd figure it out?
understand that under no circumstance can I lose the stone atop this staff.
oh, he's
Under
harmless.
no circumstance.
Oh, he's harmless. If we lose the duel, then we just like leave and he blusters at us like.
But he said he was Okay, he said he was going to break our weapons. Is that a typical?
Oh, he'll be satisfied with breaking my sword.
He specifically mentioned my staff and then blustered on his
There's a
way
lot
out.
of words though.
Okay, I don't know if I'm sleeping tonight, but I am just telling you that if it gets dangerous and then things come down to the wire, we are doing everything we can to win that duel.
I'm not.
Everything.
Do you want me to fight the duel for you?
I don't think that's allowed, is it? I don't know.
don't
I'm unfamiliar
think
with dueling
so.
on Epitaph.
Well, not really, but I wouldn't call Sazetti the most bright. You could probably goad him into it if you really wanted to.
Like, I'll fight him one-armed, I guess. It's not to the death. It's not really that big of a deal, right?
No, it's to first blood. It would be really great for us to win, though, because, despite what I'm saying, he's really good. So, 7th member.
Okay. I'm not. Yeah. Okay. I need a drink, please. Someone or something strong immediately. Oh God.
The waitress like comes back and fills up your glass of glint mouth, and she says, "You have to drink it all at once so you can read the message at the bottom," and then gives you a wink and walks away.
Where's Shay, by the way?
So Shay, Fable watches this whole exchange and then looks back to you and goes, "Wow, somebody confident and dangerous, taking what they want and leading their woman, presumably home. Does it give you any ideas?"
Shay wraps her arm around Fable's waist and just pulls her up.
Absolutely. And Shay and Fable
Fade to
vanish
black.
from Fade to Black.
But Bye, Shay. I guess see you in the morning.
Oh yeah, you were listening.
Oh, at this point, Shay's like pretty drunk, so she's like kind of drunk sorority girl.
You weren't here more. Yeah, she'll be back in the morning.
Oh, okay. I guess I could go find someone else to do the repairs. She doesn't want to do them.
No, she's planning to repair you in the morning before we head out.
Is that
I don't-
before or after the duel?
The duel's at dawn, so after.
You hear from down the hall. It'll only take a little while. As she yells.
Morgaine, wait, who's carrying the Residium?
Looks in like a
party?
little pocket.
Is it in the bag of holding?
In canon, we haven't decided. I have just pictured it on Morgaine's person in some capacity.
Makes sense.
If people want to correct that, that's fine. Morgaine's gonna like open up like one of his latches.
May I borrow 50 gold pieces worth of Residium? I'm just going to make myself a small insurance policy.
Like, we don't have that much, and we need it for flying.
We don't have 50 gold pieces worth left over?
No, we have 450, but we need, we need it to fly, right? I thought that's part of the ritual.
Yes, quite true. I just got a nice little stash, and if we can find a place to buy some more, I would. This is more of an immediate need, just as an insurance policy. I don't want to lose my staff tomorrow.
Couldn't you just not come out with that staff?
I suppose.
Because don't you have your necklace and stuff now to cast your spells?
Well, no, that was something. I would have to shrink it again, and that was something that Shay made that I already took apart. I need Shay to put that back together. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure we'll win and be fine. If we can't spare 50 and everything goes awry and the world is destroyed and oh my god,
neither of you are
please. Another drink.
Neither of you are carrying the message stones, are you?
I'm carrying them. Yes, we should get rid of that before tomorrow. Let me pass that over to someone who won't be fighting. Good call. So I'm gonna take the beacon glyph that I have, and Morgaine, do you have an empty pocket to put it in?
I believe I do.
Would that be the wisest? Would a warforged be able to hold it with delicacy?
I would recommend giving that to Saigar.
Alright, Saigar, will you hold this just in case?
I already have another, I guess. Are we putting all our eggs in one basket by doing this?
Well, you can give it back, just prior to the combat.
That's true, and if I were to ever be involved in combat, which I'm trying not to be, I'd be from a distance. So yes, I'll safeguard it during this encounter.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Also, can't stress enough though. Like, if we lose, we just don't. You don't have to let him break your staff. I mean, it's fine.
You're saying that, but I don't try. I don't. How is that? Are you not going to let him break your sword?
I'll let him break my sword, and then he'll be satisfied.
He specifically said sword and staff as he walked out the door.
Yeah, he's kind of a little bitch, though.
You guys, it's like late. Don't you guys need to sleep?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna down the drink that I was handed, the one I was supposed to down all at once, and then look at the glass.
It says you can't lose what you never possessed.
Dang.
That one's a good one. At least
that one cuts deep, Cavius.
Just gonna toss the glass over my shoulder.
I can almost hear
dejectedly.
When okay, good.
I guess I'll sit down here. Is this on the level? Like, this place fine?
Yeah, I've been going here for a long time. There's conflict back and forth sometimes. It's a good place.
Well, if you hear smashing, that's your warning sign that something bad's gonna happen. But yeah, go to bed. I, on the other hand, will stand guard right here and be very vigilant.
I'll make sure that no bad music plays all night long.
Really hard to be a cool, vigilant badass when the situation is not really conducive to it. But I get where you're coming from, and I like it. Does anybody else want to do anything before? I don't know if you guys are doing the workshop tonight or tomorrow. I think tonight's really a good call. If you guys do want to decide to... Okay.
Well, we can't...
We can't without Shay.
Well, you've got the key for it.
Right, but we were going to the workshop so that Shay could repair Morgaine.
Now you're going to be borderline running out of time. Where Shay and Morgaine could certainly get repaired in the morning, and you guys could do the duel as well in the morning, assuming that that happens in the morning and not, early afternoon like Fable 1. But you are going to have to get a leg on if you are planning on actually doing the hunt as well.
Okay,
I'm with you. I'm just curious if there's a way that you guys want to compress it down to be time conscious, or if it's going to kind of unfold at normal speed.
Could we not be efficient?
There's still the declaration of the hunt to do.
I mean, could we not, split up? You do your duel, Kyvius and Warren, and meanwhile, Morgaine, Shay, and I will go to the workshop.
Or why don't me and Shay go to the workshop, Warren and Kyvius do the duel, and then Eerie and Saigar go to the board, because Eerie would know how the system works.
Yeah, Eerie could certainly...
I really do need to ask Shay for commission, though.
It doesn't sound like there's time.
On top of repairing Morgaine, I don't know if we'd have time to make another thing.
Depends on how good I roll.
But
I'm not here, so you don't know that.
And also, there's the potential of recruiting Karna.
We if we already don't have enough time to do all of this.
I'm just saying, be aware that be time conscious, because it might be pushing things a little bit.
If we do 3 things at once, then we could go, if we wanted to attempt that, then once all 3 tasks were completed, reconvene and try that one attempt, and then maybe we can sell it to do the other things in the day.
Maybe we just need a sneak out in the middle of the night scene.
But, that's what I think we do.
Okay.
With that, do you think that would be okay?
As far as you know.
That's very foreboding.
It's splitting the party, so there's risk.
There are other things in Epitaph that may be character-based that I wanted to just clarify as well. Possible people might be forgetting backstory stuff, but it's not a big deal to me if that happens. Is there anything else people do before you want to crawl in and call it a night?
Nope. I'm going to bed.
With the companion that's been provided for you, right?
Nope.
Basically,
Scared
my
to death.
nightly activities is the moment the band stops, I'm just going to be outside.
They play pretty much all night.
Perfect.
I'd say that, I don't know. Warren spends a pretty long time down with Morgaine before leaving. But I don't think... Because the hunt thing is closed, which is what I would do.
Yeah. Okay.
And Morgan's usually pretty happy to chat, but while the music's going, he's enjoying the music.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you know what tomorrow is going to bring. Potentially recruiting allies, the return of Jam Dunk in what appears to be a very ridiculous plan where you guys are going to be joining the others on the hunt and venturing out into the jungle, not just for one of the powerful ageless that is roaming the island, but rather for two, one of which has never been successfully fallen by anyone before. A creature that lives up on Knife Point, one of the sort of highest mountains here. And while you will be certainly choosing one of the other two remaining hunts, either the Thunderbird and the tribe of harpies that worships as a god, or the lowland saltwater drake, a distant relation to a dragon that is located in a cave that is going to fill and ebb and empty with the tide. That night, most of you sleep well. And there's a waitress who stops by and picks up some of the remaining full glasses of this glint mouth champagne. Only two of them were ever actually drank, and the messages inside poured out and sort of just dumped into the trash. And she takes the other four and sort of carefully brings them back to sort of the counter, where the evening settles down into a very dull calm. Where as calm as Epitaph really is, you can hear the sounds of fights and brawls outside on the island. And you can hear the sound of the Stowworm and the Howl churning overhead as night slowly turns into day. Tomorrow, hopefully, Morgaine will be repaired. The workshop visited, a hunt begun, and then hopefully, with any luck, a way to unite the people of Epitaph against a threat that no one, not even the apparently famous Jam Duncan crew, is capable of felling, by themselves. And you're not the only ones who are deep in contemplative thought this evening, because on a small little ship called the Sirocco sitting in the harbor, there are 6 other people who are in various states of polishing their guns, or much like Morgaine, just on watch, waiting for the inevitable. And the only one of them who is not sleeping is a woman who has a face that can easily contort and change. And the last thing that happens before we call it an evening is that you watch distantly as this sort of narrative scene occurs, as she looks down at her right hand and the skin begins to unfold back from it, and you can see the hand of the Sorothian underneath as the hand opens and closes and clenches, and you can feel, or she can feel, in her spine where the Daikatana sits, where it could easily just rip out through the flesh if needed. And she, to herself, very calmly says, "Oh yeah, they're here." And that's where we're going to end today's session.
Knew it!
God.
Knew it!
I was suspicious after she, some of the things she mentioned.
I had her pegged as soon as I asked about the Sorothian base.
Yeah, that was the question. Whenever she spoke, I was like, this is...
It's like that's all Warforged in the car built off of that base.
Yeah. Oh my god, what if this... Technically, what if the Sorothian possesses her and...
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's a string we've never talked. I think we talked about if he could try to possess Morgaine at one point. Really, I think that was almost 7 sessions ago at this point.
Yeah.
That was just sort of a thought that was dropped.
Cool. Well, that's it for me, guys. Next week is probably going to be combat-y?
I would assume so.
Just a little.
I was dreading the first part of this week because I'm like, I felt anxious for Morgaine with seeing his sister again.
Sorry, Morgaine. Yeah, the music eventually does stop.
Oh.
Well, to keep it going. All right.
Oh, I'll get the the recap this week.
Cool.
Go ahead
Okay.
and
Since we hadn't
I'll start the stream over
set
to
up.
YouTube now, so I don't forget.
God, we do have tons of combat. There's the duel.